another way, and they found it at QC Kinetics, the nation's surgery was the only answer are getting their lives back thanks to QC Kinetics advanced regenerative treatments. Surgery isn't always the answer. QC Kinetics uses safe, natural treatments to activate your body's healing power with zero downtime. Get started now to ease inflammation and slow the progression of osteoarthritis. Call them today because 40,000 people can't be wrong. Before you say yes to surgery, do your research and call my friends at QC Kinetics. The consultation's free. 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
Vern's Hot Stove Show, Thursday nights starting at 6, right here on 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
And welcome in, Jay Binkley, Jackson Ogden, big thanks to Drew Nixon, Mac Morey, JT Noah, some great stuff. Logan earlier this morning with Nathan Williams. We had a little Tyreek Hill news drop today. We just been in the news everywhere. Jerome Tang let go by Kansas State last night. Of course, the NFL draft, Jackson, keeps getting closer and closer. We have the Combine next week to enjoy and dive into. It's hard to believe the Combine's already starting. I mean, this offseason, when the Chiefs don't make the playoffs, you think you get more time. It's not like you have the Super Bowl, and boom, you get the Combine like we've seen the last couple of years, but you've been eagerly waiting for this. You saw the Shrine Bowl, we saw the Senior Bowl. Now it's time for the next step, which is the NFL Combine.
Well, yeah, and it feels like with the NFL season getting longer and longer that the Combine sneaks up on you quicker when it ends, right?
Oh, it does, but really it's getting real close when the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's been like basically, all right, Chiefs, Super Bowl's over, 1 week off, now we're going to Combine, right? And so, it's nice because for the Chiefs, the off season started in the middle of December this year, so we've been waiting for some stuff and obviously picking very high in the draft this year. The Combine will be something I'm sure a lot of fans are watching closely.
Yeah, we'll look at a lot of these mocks to keep going out, and you and I were talking about it before. It's it's fun to put one out. I mean, it's the test of what they need. Maybe you can see who's there, but we all know it's going to change a million times. It should change because it changes after the Senior Bowl. It definitely changes after the Combine because guys you thought were fast sometimes aren't, and some guys you think weren't fast sometimes are, or measurements with silly things like arm length. It's much different. Who knows? Reuben Bain could end up with 33-inch arms at the Combine when it's officially measured at that point, and you won't be speculating about what it is. Who knows? Things can change with that. And then certainly when free agency hits March 9th through 11th, the legal tampering period, that's when everything is torn up, when you don't need certain positions going forward for the Kansas City Chiefs. But it's all to be decided. I think these are the most important 3 months. February, March, and April define how good you're going to be in November, in December. Yeah, the trade deadline's there just for maybe something extra, a little gravy on top. But teams are built starting right now, next week at the Combine.
Yeah, I mean, it is really – you just saw this year 2 teams go to the Super Bowl that the year before didn't even make the postseason. So these are the times of the year where you really revamp everything. This is where you can really – turn around a franchise. And if you looked at New England and you looked at Seattle, just look at their recent picks. Devin Witherspoon was insane. Christian Gonzalez is very good for them. Like these, Drake May, of course, for the Patriots.
That's how you build your team.
Yeah, this is the time where it really goes down. People say, this is the NFL offseason. For me, Bink, the offseason is just June. Like it goes, this is now free agent draft season.
Got the OTAs, and that's about it.
June's OTAs, a little cool down, beginning of July, enjoy the 4th of July. And then once training camp starts, it's go, go, go. And, these are exciting times. And, it's felt like the Chiefs haven't been a conversation for a little bit now just because they didn't make the postseason. But with free agency on the horizon, franchise tag decisions needing to be made, it's definitely time to start paying attention again if you're a Chiefs fan.
They've been laying low, haven't they?
It's just
they've been
quiet,
able. Yeah, you got Trick Kelsey's out in the different golf tournaments and stuff, the Pebble Beach Pro Am, and he was at the Waste Management Open, stuff like that. But Mahomes been doing the rehab and stuff, but they've They've been laying low, man.
Just hide your enemy,
And they laid low a little bit before last season, but they are extremely laying low now, which is a good thing. They sit back. All right, let's see what goes on. But I think one thing you said with the Seahawks and the Patriots as far as getting to the Super Bowl again, the last game the Seahawks were in the postseason before just now, the 2023 divisional round. Back in 2023, it was a 22 season that went to 23 when they played the Niners in the divisional round and lost. But this year, but again, it kind of goes to how ridiculous it is when you look at schedules. Well, the strength of schedule next year says this. Well, you never know. It's like New England. They're going to have a first-place schedule again. How are they going to do next year? Well, some teams you think are good aren't good. I'm sure people that played the Colts at the beginning of the year saw the Colts on the schedule go, ooh, even though we know the Colts weren't legitimate. They were frauds. They didn't even make the playoffs. But how many teams were afraid to play the Kansas City Chiefs? And all of a sudden, they're a 6-win team. But since the NFL realigned to 8 4-team divisions in 2002, 25 teams have gone from worst to first in their division in a single season. At least one team won its division after missing the playoffs entirely in 54 of 56 seasons since the NFL merger in 1970. So you can look at the schedule when it comes out in May and you see you're playing and when you're playing them, where you're playing them, and things change drastically. So it's not always something to get so worried about schedules because guarantee it, as this says, 54 the last 56 years, a team has missed the playoffs entirely. Boom, they're in it. You just saw a perfect example of how fast the NFL can change. That's why the Chiefs going to 7 straight AFC title games.
It's unheard of.
It's ridiculous.
It's unheard of. And I was going to say 19 of the last 23 years a team's gone from worst to first. So this is something that happens basically every single year. New England just did it this year. You basically look, if you're a betting man, look at it next year, pick one you like and put it because it's almost a guarantee it's going to happen once a year.
Well, things are happening. Jerome Tang, of course, let go.
For cause.
For cause. Yeah, for cause that
it's like
he's let go.
It's the Michael Scott, like, I have cause. It's because I hate him. It's.
Well, it makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
When Pete Thamel first put it out there, he said, firing for cause. They informed him of this formally tonight. That was last night. The basis for the cause firing is the language in his contract that references any activity that brings public disrepute, embarrassment, ridicule to Kansas State. And when he's sitting there talking about putting bags on your head, because he'd probably do it too. Now, it's one thing to say it. If you just got to some place and you're trying to change the culture,
right,
and the coach before you brought in some players that not going to be there.
Yeah.
It's different when everybody there is because of him.
Right.
Like when you do the recruiting, you can't go out and say things like this.
Yeah, I'd wear a paper bag too if I was them. Thanks a lot, fellas. God bless.
You can't.
No.
You can't do that.
No.
But of course, there's going to be a battle, and he should sue for his money. It's like almost $19 million on the table.
Hell yeah, I'd go to war for it too.
Yeah, Gene Taylor, the athletic director, said this.
I don't want to get into it. There's language in his contract that addresses, certain things that could potentially bring him embarrassment. Basically, his comments about the student athletes and the negative reaction to those comments from a lot of sources, both nationally and locally, is where I thought we needed to make the decision.
Where did things start to go wrong in your mind?
Well, every year I kind of do evaluation of the year, and just in the last couple of years, we just haven't been doing what we kind of expected to do after the Elite Eight. And so I kind of go through that in my brain, and thought this year we started out really well, and it's just last couple of years haven't gone where I thought we should have been going.
Let me ask you this, Jackson. The word student athlete was used there. Well, we need to define what we're calling student athlete, because it used to be, you don't criticize the kid. You don't criticize the college kids as much as pros. They're not getting paid. Well, all of a sudden, they start getting paid. They start making money, sometimes life-changing money. Sometimes they make a hell of a lot more than anybody else does.
Yeah.
In society, they make a hell of a lot more money than that. Student athlete, which is it? You had the quarterback of Miami said, I haven't even bothered with classes, for this season.
It's
Something
like
like
I
that.
already graduated.
Yeah, so what are you? Are you a student athlete? Or what is a student athlete? Because they get paid. I mean, I look at college sports now, it's different. I love college sports, I love college football. But for all intents and purposes, at least on the football side, and basketball's getting there too, it's minor leagues. It's the minor leagues. Everybody's wanted the minor leagues. Well, this is your minor leagues. The NFL loves it because they don't have to pay it. They don't have to pay for insurance. Somebody tears their ACL, they don't have to pay for it. Hands washed completely off of it. SEC, Big 10, Big 12, you are our minor league football. It's what we watched on Saturday because obviously with the combine coming up in the draft, you've seen a lot of the talent there. It's what makes football so much different. But when he said these things, how often he heard this?
This was embarrassing. These dudes do not deserve to wear this uniform. There will be very few of them in it next year. I'm embarrassed for the university. I'm embarrassed for our fans, our student section. It is just ridiculous. We got practice at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we will get this thing right. I have no answer, no words. So y'all got two questions. So whoever want to ask two questions, I'll answer them to the best of my ability right now. But right now, I'm pissed.
And you got to be careful when and where you say it. But let's be honest, that's not the only coach that's ever called out his team that you're embarrassed to wear these uniforms. Coaches do it all the time. They do it in practice. They do it in the locker room. They don't do it publicly like what Tang did here, which is, what he shouldn't have done. Because sometimes people hear the inner workings and they, oh my God, you can't do this. You can't call that. Oh, we're going to run at 6 a.m. in the morning. Newsflash, teams have done this forever. Yeah. Newsflash, coaches say this crap all the time to motivate players. But they happen to just suck. I mean, they want out of that contract. It's a bad deal. Got almost $19 million that they're going to owe him. They're going to look for anything, and this falls into that category. But it's not the first coach. There are a lot of coaches, especially, that'll take away the emblems on the helmet.
Yep.
They'll say you have to earn this. If we're going to call you a player of XYZ university or XYZ team, you have to earn that decal on your helmet. You're not going to wear it until you do earn it. So this isn't the first time we've heard it.
No.
It's like when Bountygate was there with Sean Payton and Greg Williams in New Orleans. Everybody was aghast at what went on in New Orleans. How dare they have a bounty system? Newsflash, that happens all the time. Just they didn't have advanced Excel spreadsheets like you guys did. But I knew that was going to open Pandora's box. People were like, oh, my goodness, they actually had a bounty. Come on, man. But this is not the first coach to yell at his players, especially, behind the scenes locker room. Now, I'm with Kansas State. Yeah, the team wasn't – nothing he said there wasn't true. It was all true.
Sometimes things can be true and you just shouldn't say it.
Sometimes the truth hurts. Exactly.
The truth hurts, but go yell that in the locker room. And if you're saying these guys won't be here next year, but they better be here at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, if I'm a player, that doesn't resonate with me at all. Why would I show up at 6 a.m. the next morning if you just told me I don't deserve to be here and I'm not going to be here next year? And then you're not going to let me wear my name on the back of the jersey on the Saturday game at Houston. If Bill Self did something like this, okay, he's won national championships. He's a Hall of Fame head coach. You listen to Bill Self. You take his...
If they were good...
Right.
If they were good and only had one or two conference losses, would he still be coaching there after saying that?
Of course.
100% he would.
Of course. But when you're 10-15 now, or I guess they were 10-13.
The problem is he sucked.
It's terrible. They got blown out by 30 points at home to a Cincinnati team who was also awful.
That's what spawned these comments.
And was also missing 3 of their best 8 players in that game. It was a disaster of a game. And, CDOT was on last week after the game, and he said, it's one thing to go wear the paper bags, but when you wear the paper bags and you're vindicated as a fan, that really makes the university look bad.
No, it does.
It
makes it all look bad when fans go that direction. But that is not the only coach to ever say that to his players. You got to earn these decals on your helmet before you got them.
I mean,
don't be an embarrassment to our university. Yeah, everything he said was true, but again, there's some things you say in the locker room.
Time and place.
There's some things you say in the locker room, some things you say in practice, and then other things you say in front of the world, which this was. Sometimes you don't do it because they will look for a reason to fire you. Again, if you were racking up conference titles, you were making more than that Elite 8 appearance that you made before. I mean, this was the Naismith Coach of the Year at one time, but that's how fast things change. It's win now. when now you're gone in this age. But again, the whole student athlete thing there, that is very hard to use that for schools anymore. Got to be careful. These are student athletes, really. They're also paid employees.
Yeah, I also think you hit it on the head, Bink, when you started it, when you said, if they were, winning, would this have been a problem?
No one said a word.
Because let's say that this happened his first year there, whenever they had got on that Elite Eight run, right? And they were very competitive and they were very good. People look at it through a whole different lens. They say that's a coach trying to get the most out of his team. But since he's a loser this year and he hasn't been winning, you look at it through the other lens and you say, this guy just has lost the locker room. Nobody respects him. Nobody cares. And it was inevitable. I thought he might get to the end of the season, but yeah, it was inevitable.
But now you can get a jump on the curve, get a jump on the ones that are out there to bring in. But of course, these things, like what is a student athlete anymore? They used to be like if they went to class and they weren't getting paid, and there was so many rules these student athletes had. They could have bagels, but it was a fine if you had something on the bagels.
Right.
There was like a Division III women's tennis team, right? And one of the players, this is years ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago, it was before nil. She washed her car on campus grounds, and that was a penalty, a fine. They had to figure out like how much water was used to wash the car. It's how things have changed since then.
Oh, it's
now you don't have to hide
day.
your $100 handshakes. You just give them to them, and there's no enforcement for it either. All these coaches are crying that their teams are getting poached because it's going on when the portal was open.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches flat out calling other players. It was tampering all over the place. Yeah. The problem is there's nowhere to go complain to it because there's no governing body of college football because the NCAA is not going to do crap about it.
No, they're not. And like you said, student athlete has become a very, I don't know, the term just doesn't really make sense anymore. Like
the student athlete makes me laugh.
You brought it up because look what happened to Mizzou football at the end of the 2010s decade. They got in trouble for tutoring.
Yeah.
And they self-reported it as the university these days.
Or you couldn't buy them a pizza or, pay for a trip to go back and see their family or something. I mean, all these stupid rules that they have. There's no rules now. Guys are sitting down there and taking contracts. Dante Moore's not going to the NFL draft. He's passing up $54 guaranteed $1 million being the number 2 pick in the NFL draft to go back to Oregon. Think he's going back as a student athlete? Hell no. He's going back for millions of reasons.
If he is
that a student athlete?
He's going to be taking some
gotta take care of his feelings.
Very, very easy electives. If we,
well, I just don't know what a student athlete is or not. But regardless,
well, at Duke, remember they were making up classes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just funny hearing the word student athlete in the day and age where guys can get whatever you pay. I don't know if you can use that.
I think
student embarrassment to student athlete.
I think we've taken student athlete down to high school.
Those are kind of paid employees.
I think we're just down to high school for that now. Yeah,
you're talking about millionaires now. So it's a little bit different. A little bit different than 10 years ago when you're having a press conference. But anyway, it's Jerome Tang. We'll probably hit that more later for Kansas State. But Kansas State, they care about Colin Klein, what he's going to do on the football field. And that's very exciting to think about what he can do in the football field because Indiana paved the way and they said Kansas, Missouri, Kansas State, all your excuses are gone when we have a football team going 16-0 in Bloomington, Indiana, and winning the national title. Why is that? Because they pay their players that are able to get players and pay them. That's the difference. But Tyreek Hill on the open market, of course, everybody wants him. But do you really? Should the Chiefs keep bringing back everybody in their history? They're going to bring back that wolf? We'll talk about that next.
You're listening to Jay Binkley and Jackson Ogden on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
I hope you're sitting down. The ACA Marketplace has announced significant increases on monthly premiums with deductibles over $10,000. You can enroll with Matt B. and KC at BBS Insurance's Freedom of Choice plan now. You don't have to wait. Their plan lets you use any doctor, has 0 outpatient deductibles, and it's 30 to 60% lower costs than most Obamacare plans. Also, there's no income disclosure required, so no potential tax penalties. If you are a small business owner or pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive. Call Matt B. and KC for an instant quote over the phone at 816-205-4664. That's 816-205-4664. or go to bbsinsurance.net. That's bbsinsurance.net. They will customize a plan chosen and managed by you, not the government.
Hi there, I'm Charlie.
And I'm Carter. Our dad is Rex with Rex Buys KC.
If you're thinking about selling a home in Kansas City and don't know where to start, our dad can help.
Sometimes life throws curveballs, like moving for a new job, dealing with a divorce, or inheriting a house you weren't expecting.
Dad doesn't just make offers, he talks with people to help them understand all of their options. No pressure, and it doesn't cost anything to talk with his team.
He's a local home buyer who really knows Kansas City. If selling to him is the right choice, he'll give you a fair cash offer, and you can close on your timeline even in as little as 7 days.
He buys homes in any condition. No need for repairs, no fees, no surprises.
Just an honest, easy process so you feel good about your decision.
Want to talk to him? Call 816-330-6000 or go to rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time.
Ever wanted to go to the NBA Finals? Well, now's your chance, courtesy of FanDuel. All you have to do is use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you'll be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. NBA futures let you lock in your pick for who you think is going to go all the way, whether it's a team to win the championship or a conference title, a tight race in the East or a race in the Western Conference. Maybe you want to look at some of the futures now post-trade deadline. Did Cleveland sell you with the James Harden trade that you should be making a bet on them to win the Eastern Conference? Visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. No purchase necessary. Limit one entry. For Profit Boost token, opt-in required. Must apply a Profit Boost token on select market. Restrictions apply. See full terms, including methods of entry, at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the Game of the Week report, brought to you by Hyundai.
Spring games for the Pro Baseball League are officially in full swing following the kickoff of the preseason over the weekend. Monday's schedule is packed with action at camps in Arizona and Florida, including Boston versus Tampa, Baltimore against Pittsburgh, and Minnesota playing Detroit.
The Game of the Week report is brought to you by the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. Learn how it's so much more than just another SUV at HyundaiUSA.com.
This isn't just how you get there, it's how you arrive. Whatever the day brings, make it epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. A sleek exterior, premium interior, and class-leading space for up to 8 with available third-row power seats that recline to give you room to live big. Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA-estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
Hey, Royals fans, it's Vern. It's February. You know what time it is. Spring training meant Royals baseball is back on 96.5 The Fan. I'll be down in Arizona with the boys in blue, joining all 3 shows throughout the week. I'll have my hot stove show every Thursday night at 6 o'clock. And if you can't be there and surprise with me, I'll post videos on 96.5 The Fan's social media accounts, so you don't even need to leave the couch to watch your favorite players in action. This is your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back, Jay Binkley, Jackson Ogden. With usually Jackson and I are at night, but of course we'd have a lot of the night doing the day on this President's Day. So happy President's Day to everybody out here. Logan was with Nathan in the morning, and of course you heard Mac and Drew and their awesome show that they did, and then of course JT Noah was with them as well, and then Jackson and I. My partner in NFL Draft, Jackson Ogden, is with me today. And Jackson's going to be with Chris and I because we'll start those the 3-hour draft specials starting on April 2nd. Or not April 2nd. Yeah,
it is
April 2nd. Yeah,
Yep.
4/2. Yeah, April 2nd. God, time goes by fast, man. We're already 2 months in this damn year. Like, that's it. It's already gone. It's already going to be March.
Tell you, draft's going to be here before you know it.
It is, but you're going to be with us on that, and that's going to be a lot of fun because I know you like the NFL draft, and what a perfect year that we're not sitting here arguing about end of the first-round picks. That essentially most GMs, the most important question, because they all will have press conferences before the draft, which they don't tell anything. It's one big smoke screen. It's almost like how good can you do a smoke screen?
Yeah.
That's all these top 30 visits that you get. Because a lot of times they don't draft anybody they bring in. Sometimes they do. Like Simmons came in for a top 30 visit when he was there because they went to look at the medicals. There's some guys you want to dive further into because you didn't get all the information that you wanted at the Senior Bowl or the Shrine Bowl or the Combines. You bring them in for a visit, but sometimes they really don't talk to you. That's the fun part about the draft because all of them are asked about it. Because whenever they hop on, after they've been drafted by the Chiefs, they hop on with like 10 minutes after something with the local meeting. They'll say, it's one of the first questions, how long you been talking to the Kansas City Chiefs? Sometimes it's not at all.
Yeah.
Because they've done their homework on you through other sources. Now, they say they do homework on you, but I am curious how much homework teams actually do because they whiff so much on quarterbacks. Like they say they research it, but then they sit there and they still draft the Will Levises of the world. They still draft the Anthony Richardsons. Like, how much homework did you do? Does this fall under student athletes?
You know what it makes me think of, Bink? You ever know a guy when you're doing like a March Madness bracket, which, obviously is coming up, you never know a guy that's super into it, and then there's just a random, like his wife or something will have a better bracket.
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows that guy.
Sometimes you're too into it. And I think that's what these GMs sometimes and these teams do with quarterback is they're over-analyzing the homework. They're like looking for any specific reason to justify taking a guy, whether it be Anthony Richardson or J.J. McCarthy or something like that. And so you say you're wondering how much they do. My argument is they might know too much. They might be like, oh, but did you see that throw against Utah? Oh, but did you see that run against Alabama? And they basically gaslight themselves into being like, yeah, this is the right pick.
You're right. And it's kind of like fantasy football sometimes. The person that really goes down to it and says, all right, I'm starting so-and-so because I'm looking at the rush defense he's going against, one of the worst rush defense in the NFL. That's daily fantasy as well. When you go to the DraftKings sites and things like that, sometimes you overanalyze things too much, and then all of a sudden crap happens because the NFL is such a
unpredictable
roll of the dice. I mean, just ask the Patriots and Raiders.
Me and when I was growing up in high school, me, my mom, and dad, every single week we'd do our picks. We'd just pick the games each week. And me and my dad are big football fans. My mom would watch, but she'd
win.
She wasn't that into it. All she ever asked, who's the coach, who's the quarterback? Yeah. And then she'd beat us every week. We were like, what?
Sometimes you can overthink things. I think that teams overthought Brock Purdy, obviously. Going to last pick in the draft, you were an afterthought to a lot of people. I think people slept on Puka.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a guy that went as the fifth-round selection of the Rams. You see how good he is now, the 129 catches? Yeah. Not a first-rounder, not a second-rounder, not a third-rounder, not a fourth-rounder. A fifth-rounder kind of, well, technically he was a fifth-rounder, but he was because the Rams had 4 fifth-round selections that year, and he was the fourth of those fifth-round selections. So those guys, fall through. Yeah. And then you have a guy like Tom Brady that clearly goes out and wins 6 Super Bowls, and Trey Smith goes in the 6th round. He's the highest-paid guard in the NFL right now. A lot of stuff, a lot of overthinking takes place when we look at numbers. And I know I've been, looking at Ruben Bain, not a huge fan of, the measurables of Bain. And it's not necessarily that because, again, the arm length has been a big issue, when talking about Ruben Bain, like it was Will Campbell for the Patriots. And he struggled this year. And I get it, the 14 pressures he gave up in the Super Bowl might not all be attributed to the shorter arms because that was his knock before the draft.
Right.
With Will Campbell's short arms. He gave 14 pressures in the Super Bowl.
I mean, his postseason was really bad.
There's not one person in the NFL that gave up 14 pressures in any games. The Patriots gave up 21 sacks in the postseason. That's how bad they were. But some of it, most of it wasn't even attributed to that. It was his knee injury and things like that went forward. So you got to be careful. We all heard about Ruben's arms, being, well, they're shorter than what the Chiefs typically draft because they did a reach when they got Ashton Gelati. Because usually
we brought that up before.
Yeah, they go with the longer
shorter
arms. But again, they haven't been officially measured. There's numbers out there that I'm curious about how people got these because he didn't go to the Senior Bowl. He was invited to the Senior Bowl, but he didn't go. And he didn't, of course, measure at that point. Some guys did. They go, Pavia goes down, and they said, you're 5'9".
Yeah. Vanderbilt lists you at 6 foot. You're 5'9".
Like Xavier Restrepo at Miami ran the 40 at the pro day, and he probably shouldn't have because it was slow at hells in the 7/8.
It was bad.
And it cost him being drafted. So it just depends on what you have. But again, Ruben, because we've seen this all the time. How many times have you seen where quarterbacks have small hands, and then they'll have their pro day, and the hands are like 2 or 3 inches larger than you thought they were.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's fake or made up or what, because some teams make up crap.
That was the thing with Kenny Pickett, right? They were talking about he had really small hands, and that was the big knock is, well, how is a small hand quarterback going to play in the cold weather in Pittsburgh? They're used to Big Ben, having those big hands. And I think it is a thing where if you're a quarterback in the cold, you got to have bigger hands versus if you're in a dome.
Well, Kenny Pickett, small hands, and look what happened.
Yeah, he just wasn't fit to be an NFL quarterback. That was also a really bad quarterback draft. And, of course, the best one went last in the draft with Purdy. Hey, funny thing, if you're a Chiefs fan, Chris Oladokun went in the 7th round that year ahead of Purdy. He drafted by the Steelers. So
he was awesome. Just kidding.
When I tell you, when you say these GMs are just throwing darts.
They throw darts.
They're just throwing darts, man. I mean, that's
what they are. And so what we do as fans, too, because, again, explain to me how the Raiders beat the Patriots in week 1 on the road in New England. That team went to the Super Bowl. The Raiders are picking first in the draft, yet that team beat the Patriots in New England in week 1. Again, it's a crapshoot.
Seattle started 0-1 too.
Week 1's a myth.
It's especially with preseason not being what it used to be.
Yeah.
Teams are treating week 1 like preseason now.
It's like college football teams like Kansas State or anybody. Whenever you play these games like they did in Ireland, whenever you play a good team on the road, bad things can happen. Because your team's not ready. You didn't have preseason. That's why when I see some of these teams schedule these kickoff classics and whatnot, it's like, man, you sure you want to play a ranked team? You sure you want to do it? Because your team's going to be slow. Notre Dame found out how tough it is by playing Miami early on, that they weren't quite ready because that team got much, much better as it went through. But Tyreek Hill, there's no waiting for Tyreek Hill anymore. You don't have to wait till the free agency. You don't have to wait till legal tampering. You don't have to wait till anything. He was outright released by the Miami Dolphins. So he's an unrestricted free agent for the first time in his history because he was traded, obviously, from Kansas City to Miami, brought a haul back to the Kansas City Chiefs. But he's a free agent. And I kind of want to know if you take – here's what Stephen A. would take him back. Here's what Stephen A. said.
I'm happy for him. He should want to be out of the Dolphins. If you want to win, this is a champion. This is one of the most electrifying wide receivers in the National Football League when healthy. He's the cheetah. He's something special to behold. And as far as I'm concerned, you know what? He should be targeting going back to Kansas City. He should want to go back and play with Patrick Mahomes because he is desperately needed. With Tyreek Hill there, I don't care that you got Worthy and Rice. And they ain't Tyreek Hill. They ain't Tyreek Hill. Those brothers are good. You understand? And Rice is special. But I'm telling you right now, Tyreek Hill out there, it's something to behold when healthy. That's what they should be looking at. That's what they should be targeting. He should want to go back because, damn it, he should have never left. He left for a little change. I get all of that part. Miami offered them more money than Kansas City did. So you got to get your money while you can in the National Football League. I understand that. But if there is a way for him to get back to playing with a quarterback the likes of Patrick Mahomes, he should do it. It should be 1 or 2 targets. You know what I'm saying? Or 1 or 3. It should be Kansas City, Buffalo, or Baltimore. 1 of the 3. And I say back to Kansas City because obviously he's incredibly familiar with the coaching. He's incredibly familiar with the quarterback. He's incredibly familiar with the fan base. That's where he should want to go back to.
He's right about those teams, and he's definitely right about Buffalo because Buffalo doesn't have anything for Josh Allen. It's amazing they scored as much as they did, including 30 points a game 2 years ago without any weapons besides James Cook. So, yes, we'll talk about Tyreek Hill. Do you want to or not? Our text line, Chase Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. Plus, we'll check in with Josh Vernier live from Surprise, Arizona, coming up at 4. We've got like 70-degree weather. Usually we're doing this stuff at night, but it's like 70 degrees for like the next 3 days.
The sun's out. This is weird for me. The sun is out while I'm here.
Yeah. When Vern left for Arizona, it was 77 degrees. I guarantee you that's not happened in the history of Vern because usually it's crappy here when he's having all that sunshine. But not anymore, Vern. Wait, we'll talk to him next. But Tyreek Hill, would you take him or not next?
You're listening to Jay Binkley and Jackson Ogden on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Low testosterone can be a real problem for many men. It causes poor sleep patterns, decreased energy, low sex drive, and it makes it really hard to stay in shape. And as we all know, a healthy body is very important to our overall health and well-being. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if some or all of these symptoms sound like you, we can likely help you be done with low T. We can also help you lose weight, support your metabolism, improve your gains in the gym, and more with our new targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more. Our low T protocols, applied in conjunction with our body composition plans, will help most men see real improvements, true weight loss, higher energy, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and a renewed sex drive as well. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hold on tight. Things are spinning into action. At Harris, Kansas City on Saturday, February 28th, it's the $50,000 Spincredible event. Take your turn at the giant prize wheel and spin your way up to $5,000 in free play. And the excitement keeps turning because at 10 p.m., one lucky winner will walk away with $50,000 in cash. Keep those entries rolling with 5 times entries on Sundays, February 15th, 22nd, and Friday, February 27th. Spin big, win big. Only at Harris's Kansas City. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Welcome back, Jay Binkley, Jackson Ogden. Phone number 913-586-7965. Same as Jay Southland Tow Service text line 913-586-7965. Some people, 816, open to bringing Tyreek back, but I don't want to overpay for him. He's coming off a major injury. I don't think he's as dynamic as he used to be. Another 816, Tyreek and the Chiefs reunion is only good for Tyreek, who needs less distractions. We need a better mentor for Rice. Yeah, so a lot of people chiming in on the Tyreek Hill or not. I come to this. Was he a dynamic player? Yeah. I mean, you think about the last decade, it's only been Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce that's led this team in yards. And when he went to Miami, he got up to number one player in the NFL, in the top 100.
Yeah.
Guy was a dynamic. But he always had an issue because drop passes have always been one of them. Even that year he ran for almost got to 2,000 yards. He was number 2 in the NFL in drop passes. Believe it or not, Puka actually led the NFL in drop passes. So it's not the end-all, be-all. But he does drop passes, and he's certainly been number 3, and he's been in the top 5, definitely the top 10 in drop passes, which is something the Kansas City Chiefs can't have anymore. And my biggest concern is when you take away that deep threat, when you take away going vertically, take away that 9 route, you take away those things, and you're forced to become more of an intermediate receiver. I have no doubts, and I have not seen anybody from the Chiefs transform like a Tyreek Hill. Maybe Jared Allen was drafted as a long snapper, ends up becoming a Hall of Fame edge. I mean, yes, certainly Jared Allen's right there with it. But Tyreek Hill, from running back to wide receiver, the different skill sets he had, and he was a returner, and they kept gradually putting him more and more into the offense. And then you see what he has. But in my opinion, nobody worked harder on their craft becoming the player that he was from a guy that nobody expected. Don't forget, he didn't even go to the combine. Yeah. But Tyreek Hill was right there. What he did was impressive. I mean, there was a time he played bigger than he was. And you always want a receiver to play bigger than they are.
I thought he was just going to be another Dexter McCluster at the beginning. I thought nice return specialist, could add a couple things in the receiving game, maybe a Javier Arenas even, right? Just as a contributor on special teams. And you're right, Bink, he really became something that the league's never seen. There's never been a player that's changed the game, changed a football game with quickness the way that Tyreek Hill did back when he was with the Chiefs and even when he was with the Dolphins.
He's a special player. There's no doubt about that. But the injury, being 32 years old, things change in the NFL quickly. They change really quickly. Someone you thought you had is not the same person. But again, if you're not going to be that take the top off and you have to become more of an intermediate receiver, well, how are your hands? Because when you're dropping passes, when you could still spread a field and go 80 yards and score a touchdown, maybe the next play, you forget about things like that. You forget about the drop passes. You forget that he lays the football, on the ground. You forget about that because you make up with it with your speed doing other things. But if you're forced to become more of that kind of receiver and you're not the reliable all-hands guy, maybe he is. I'm sure they're going to bring him in, or maybe they won't. But I'm sure they'll talk to people. What's his condition like now? Is he still fast? Tyquan Thornton's a free agent. Now, let's say they brought back Tyquan Thornton. At this point, who's fast? Xavier Worthy's faster right now than Tyreek Hill is. Tyquan Thornton is faster than Tyreek Hill is now. So, third or fourth wide receiver as far as speed is concerned, it's not the fastest anymore. You're now, third. Those arguments, are you faster than Usain Bolt? Those things are gone.
Well, how much, Bink, would you factor in, though, his just familiarity with the offense, knowing Bieniemy, knowing Reed? How much would you value that, even if the speed is a little bit gone, just a guy that knows the playbook and can come in and already has good chemistry with Pat? I mean, does that sway you at all, or is the injury too much? Is the decline in speed too much?
I think there's certainly something to that. I think that there's certainly something to knowing the offense, but will it change? Will it change? Is the offense going to be a whole lot different than what it was with Bieniemy the first time? Because I can't imagine it being almost identical to it.
I don't know. I mean, even if it does change, though, the familiarity with Pat, the comfortability that he'd have in the offense. Now, he's not been in an offense with Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy and some of these other guys. But, the point stands that Tyreek is very familiar with the quarterback, the head coach, the OC.
The timing.
Yeah, and especially if Kelsey comes back too, having a guy there that he's very familiar with, knowing Kelsey's kind of an ad-lib type of route guy, you can do your thing, he's going to do his thing. I don't know. It's tough because
it's so much unknown as far as
right.
That was a pretty gruesome injury.
It was bad.
And he's 32, he's not 26.
Yeah, it was bad, and especially a speed guy, those guys typically fall off faster than good route runners. You still see Devontae Adams is having a great career in his 30s. He's never really been reliant on speed. He's won at the line of scrimmage with his route running, right? And so, there is differences in guys. This receiver's 33, this receiver's 33, but one relied on speed, one relied on technician. And you see their careers go differently as they get older.
We know he can run the routes. We know he can do the route tree.
That, yeah.
But can you create the separation? Can you make the catch? How dangerous are you breaking man now with your speed? Is it that much different now? Is it still that all? I know that you think you can be still that guy. We hope that he can be, but he is 32. And Father Time doesn't lie when guys get in their 30s as far as how good they are. Now we see some guys like Travis Kelce seems to defy age. I mean, there are guys out there like that defy age, and there's guys that aren't and fall off the cliff in the NFL relatively fast. When they get the training camp, we're like, oh, it's not who we thought he was before. We see with running backs all the time, that 3-year shelf life. We see it all the time. The guys aren't the same guy that we thought they were at that point. But, again, bringing guys back, bringing back the Jujus, the Mike Pinnells, bringing guys back. Kareem Hunt did work for the Chiefs, but they didn't ask a lot from him. He was their short yardage guy, and he did it extremely well, obviously. He played a real role for the Kansas City Chiefs. But can you keep bringing guys back that aren't quarterbacks, that you get that, all the way up till they're 40, even after, for quarterbacks, which is clearly a different position, or kickers? What are we looking for? What are we looking for in a Tyreek Hill to make the difference? Because I don't think it changes anything for the draft. Doesn't change the direction they're going through, especially it might change for agency a bit, but we'll see.
That probably it would. I mean, also depending on what his price range is going to be now, what does he get and how long could you give him a contract for and feel good about it? Does it have to be a 1-year deal? Would he even take a 1-year deal coming off of that sort of injury? That's part of it.
And he might have to.
We don't know. We'll see what the market indicates, because if it's Tyreek Hill pre-injury, yeah, you're getting a great guy. You're getting a great player. But that was gruesome. And like you said, Father Time, outside of like LeBron and Tom Brady, has beaten everybody. So, it's a risk if the Chiefs do decide to go that way. And I kind of don't like the idea of just, well, we haven't been able to find great replacements, so let's bring these guys back. Let's bring back Hunt because we don't have a good running back. Let's bring back Bieniemy because we don't have a good OC. Let's bring back Tyreek because we haven't figured out receiver. I want to find new, fresh guys. You know what I'm saying? This is just bringing everybody back thing. This would have been great if it was 2019. It's 2026. We got to move on.
It's a big difference between that first Super Bowl they won where they sit right now, especially with skill positions. 913 says you don't think he's better than Worthy or Brown. He's 10 times better, and they were at 80%. We don't know that 100%. Like, we don't know that. Maybe Worthy's better at this point. Hollywood Brown's definitely going to be gone. Hollywood Brown, I think, disappointed from his couple years here in Kansas City. Wasn't the guy that you were sold. The guy that you were sold for that speed, break containment, being that guy. He wasn't that guy. I don't know. Again, I don't know his condition, because coming off that injury, we don't still know he's 100% ready for week 1.
Might not be.
Like, those are things we don't remember. We'll discuss this more when we come back. 913-586-7965, Jay Southland, Toast Service text line.
You're listening to Jay Binkley and Jackson Ogden on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Man, if your stream isn't as strong as it used to be, or you're taking more breaks to the bathroom than the last 2 minutes of a televised football game,
there's another timeout. We'll be back after this.
it's time to get checked. An enlarged prostate, or BPH, could be the cause. And Kansas City Urology Care is here to help. Fast answers, trusted care. Don't wait. Come see Kansas City's largest, most experienced, and most advanced urology team. Visit kcuc.com today. At KCUC, you see the best in KC.
If you love seafood, pull up anchor and set sail for Hy-Vee's annual fish and seafood sale. Get a whale of a deal on all your favorites for Lent. Salmon, tuna, trout, and catfish. Seafood lovers shrimp, crab legs, and lobster mac and cheese. Eating seafood twice a week has major health benefits. Count on Hy-Vee to sell only the freshest seafood backed by the Responsible Choice Guarantee. All hands on deck for the annual seafood sale going on now at Hy-Vee.
One thing I love doing is going to Hy-Vee. I love going up and down the aisles and finding everything I need. But sometimes we're just very busy. With 2 girls in high school right now, we are swamped. So we use Hy-Vee's aisles online. I go to the Hy-Vee app or at Hy-Vee.com. I choose the store I want, I select my items, and then Hy-Vee does all the shopping for me. All I have to do is pick it up, or better yet, have it delivered to my home. So I'm going to save time and I'm going to save money. What could be better? Only at Hy-Vee.
Hey guys, it's Rob Brennan from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the upcoming World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And I'm Scott Parks from Daniel Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch KC features the biggest names who helped make the World Cup in Kansas City possible. And there was a lot of work, plus the major storylines heading into this summer's tournament.
This is so much more. This isn't just a podcast about soccer.
No, you're right, Rob. It's a podcast about Kansas City, for Kansas City, telling the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes drop every Wednesday starting on March 4th, along with video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ social channels.
So make sure you subscribe. Download Beyond the Pitch KC with Rob Brenton and myself, Scott Parks, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Having unexpected car trouble or just in a car accident? You need Jay's Southland Tow Service. They have 20 years of experience and service the KC metro area. They specialize in light, medium, and heavy duty, also in commercial transport and construction equipment. Keep this number handy, 816-779-4TOW, or go to southlandtow.com. Use the tow service trusted by most local police departments, Jay's Southland Tow. There's nothing they can't do, so be in the know and use Jay's Southland Tow.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
I mean, text line says, well, he has good hands. Well, it's not necessarily the case. I mean, he does have drops. And don't forget that game in Germany, in Frankfurt. Remember that? He fumbled the ball, is recovered by Edwards, and then lateraled to Cook, who hit 59 yards for it. That was courtesy of Tyreek Hill for the Kansas City Chiefs in Germany. That's what I can't believe that game was back in 2023, man. It seemed like 2 seasons ago. It was 3 seasons ago. It's 23 season.
Yeah, then they came back to...
Time flies, doesn't it?
They came back to Arrowhead that postseason, and they got stomped in the snow.
His drop rate was 3.9% with the Chiefs. It went up to 6.3% in 2022 with the Dolphins. 23 season had 5 drops, but they estimate that could have been up to even 14 drops. So there has been the drop issues, the drop problems, but you get away with those kind of things when you're that fast. When you're that fast, you get away with having the drops because that's your skill set. Because the skill of speed, being the fastest guy in the NFL, you can't recreate that. You can't teach that. You can't coach it. You either have it or you don't. He had it.
But yeah, at least with him, when he dropped the ball, he can make up for it.
He could.
These guys right now, it just feels like they dropped the ball and they're not doing enough to make up for it. Rice has some very untimely drops. Worthy, whether it be a drop or he's just not aware of where he's at on the sideline, that's been a problem. Just other guys in the lineup having untimely drops. And, Hill also had those when he was here. I remember there was a Sunday night game. We were playing Buffalo here. He had a drop that became a pick six, basically broke open the game for Buffalo.
He had a couple go through his hands that, he did some Kelsey stuff, which Kelsey and Hill, that is a problem with those two receivers.
But they can make up for it, is the thing. Not everyone can. If Kadarius Toney couldn't make up for it. Tyreek Hill, he might have had some drops, but he would always come back and make up for it, make a big play, and could change a game in one play. And we'll see if he still has that speed. That's my big reservation is coming off of this gruesome injury, will he still be not the same player, but will he even be similar to that player? Or is that kind of going to be the last of that version of Cheetah?
And again, you just don't care about it when you can take a football and go 70 or 80 yards. You don't matter. But again, it's about bringing players back because this was the opportunity to move forward. And obviously bring in DeMarco Murray as running backs coach. That's something different, somebody that's out of the system, somebody that hasn't been here before, but they bring back an offensive coordinator familiar with. You know, they brought back different assistant line coaches and stuff that have been here in the past. They brought them back to Kansas City. New wide receiver coach.
So that's something else, too.
It is a few changes. Not every change, but there was always a familiarity with Kansas City that people had. You know, they were here in a different place. But I've kind of accepted that's kind of who and what they are. We're not going to get that dream scenario when everybody's new, and it's hard to argue because it's worked for them. But O'Shea, the wide receiver coach, was in Kansas City, by the way, but it was 2003, 2004, before Andy Reid. It was pre-Andy Reid, yeah.
And he was like a super down the line assistant. It was right when he got into the league, and then.
And he's 53. I mean,
became a receivers
That's
coach.
what his role is, going to be wide receiver coach. That's something they definitely need.
And
instead of guys that have been here trying to
like Rob Gronkowski and other guys.
Sure. He's got the rings. That's his role. That's what he is. That's what he's going to be good at. You don't have to worry about him wandering eyes to take over a head coach because it's probably not going to happen.
He's got a lot more experience than Embry did. And he should be able to help the younger receivers if they do decide to add, or just Worthy in general and Rice. He should be able to help these young receivers do better and develop better.
Because that's what's hopefully going to be required through this draft. Develop a wide receiver. See more development for Xavier Worthy. Took that step back in year 2 than where he was in year 1. But I don't know how much the injuries played in that. Because I think when all's said and done, when you find out how hurt the dude actually was, it's going to change things. But he developed slowly his rookie year. Remember? Wasn't good at first. Didn't know time and place. Catching the ball on the sideline. Mahomes would put him there because that foot was always out, one of them. But then he got better. And he had to step up because guess what? He had to be the man. He was drafted not to be the man because, Hollywood Brown was here. Rashee Rice was here. He wasn't going to be, quote, the guy. And then all of a sudden, when Hollywood Brown's hurt in the first preseason game against Jacksonville, and then all of a sudden Rashee Rice is hurt in game 4 against the Chargers, guess what? Forget that you're a first-round pick. It's time to step up. I know you were drafted at the end of the first round, not the beginning, which is the difference because it's essentially a second-round pick because you don't have a first-round grade on you. But it was step up. He stepped up to 59 catches for the Chiefs that year. I think all said and done his rookie year, he had to be happy with it. What he did in the Super Bowl and everything else, the only guy that did anything, of course, that was garbage time yards, but he still put up, $150 in that game. He could be that guy. For the Chiefs, he had to be that guy his rookie year. With everybody else hurt, it wasn't that luxury of sitting back and watching guys. And have you find out they're not really getting developed outside of guys like, Travis Kelce pulling you over after practice and working on things with you when your own veteran players are doing that is much different than a coach doing that. Personally, I wish they would have taken a flyer on a guy like Hines Ward, who's coaching wide receivers at Arizona State, would have brought somebody different like that somebody automatically they look at and they say, this dude's done it. Deshaun Jackson, who's coaching at the college level, look at it like, all right, this guy's done it. This is a proven guy. We know because he's done it in the NFL. He's done it in the big moments. But that's not the way it's going to be with this coaching staff. And it's hard to argue. Again, do you want to argue it and say, well, you want a coach that has these dreams of becoming something else, an offensive coordinator, head coach? You want a guy that's driven to succeed, like a Shieldhouse type guy that's going to, go through those ranks from wide receiver coach to offensive coordinator and eventually become a head coach. It's not that type of what they got. But, again, it's hard to argue success when I know they didn't make the playoffs this year, and obviously things change when you go 2 years without doing it. That's why this year is so important for the Chiefs. But you look back at it and say, can we still get there with this group? Because they've had the success 5 of the last 7 Super Bowls they've been in, so – they do have that to fall on, but you know how things change quickly. What have you done for me lately is kind of where we're at.
NFL, not for long.
It's where we are. It's where everybody's with Veach. Everybody's unhappy with Andy Reid. They're unhappy with the general manager. They're unhappy with everybody. It's like, can we really be unhappy with the GM when you don't know what he can do at the beginning of the draft?
Yeah,
because the last time they picked in the top 10 was Patrick Mahomes, and that did not suck.
Well, the last time they picked in the top 10 without having to trade up was Eric Fisher. So, you're talking way, way long ago. So,
and I get that wasn't, quote, a Veach pick as GM because he was GM later that summer. Oh, with Patrick.
Mahomes.
So
with Mahomes, yeah.
Yeah, with Mahomes. But it did work out.
He was the one who wanted him.
He did. He did. I still contend that was an Andy Reid pick because you're not drafting any quarterback without his blessing. Guarantee you that wouldn't fly everywhere. And don't forget.
There's probably some truth to that.
Don't forget, after they drafted Mahomes, it was that summer that they let Dorsey go and they re-signed Reid.
That's right.
It was that summer they had Patrick Mahomes. So you could tell how they kind of thought about the whole situation when you have that kind of a deal with the Chiefs. Coming up next, though, look at some mock drafts. You like doing that? You like looking at the mock draft? The latest trends. Because something I like to do each and every show is look at the latest trends and see them going back and forth. And, well, there's one position that really hadn't changed a whole lot. We'll discuss that next.
You're listening to Jay Binkley and Jackson Ogden on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
The excitement of the Winter Games is well underway. You want to know why betting the Winter Games on FanDuel makes sense? Because you got the game lines. You're keeping an eye on USA hockey and Canada hockey. You're looking at the medal counts and who has the most gold medals, who will end up with the most gold, who will have the total medal count lead at the end of this thing. You want to find your angle on the events you care about most. And maybe that's bobsled. We had a guest on just last week talking about bobsledding. FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected to the action. The Winter Games are on, and there's no better way to follow them than with a bet on FanDuel. Curling matches that start slow and somehow get tense fast. Bobsled runs that go by in a flash. Speed skating decided by inches. And hockey games that feel a little different from the opening faceoff, and so much more. The Winter Games are packed with action, different events, different contenders each and every day. You'll want to keep up with all the action on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. That's FanDuel.com/local. FanDuel, play your game. FanDuel Sportsbook's the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Start your summer at the Lake of the Ozarks Marine Dealers Overland Park Boat Show, February 19th through the 22nd at the Overland Park Convention Center. The top marine dealers from the Lake of the Ozarks will be on site with the newest boats, personal watercraft, docks, and accessories. Step aboard, compare models, and find the perfect ride for your family. Special show pricing and experts ready to help make your boating dreams a reality. Start your summer at the Overland Park Boat Show. Visit LakeoftheOzarkBoatDealers.com for more information.
Hey, it's Rob Britton from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And Rob, I'm Scott Parks from Dana and Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch KC will feature the biggest names who made the World Cup in Kansas City possible. Plus, the biggest storylines heading into this summer's tournament. This is not a podcast about soccer. Don't get us wrong. This is a podcast about Kansas City. This is a podcast for Kansas City. And this is a podcast that'll tell the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes will be released every Wednesday starting on March 4th, as well as video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ's social channels.
Subscribe and download to Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series with myself and Rob Bretton on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Advent Health welcomes the KC Golf Show February 27th through March 1st at the Overland Park Convention Center. Grab front door bonus golf while it lasts. Enjoy the Vital Stretch Zone. Saturday's women's events and test big brands with Golf MD at the Golf Show February 27th through March 1st. All at the OP Convention Center. Thanks to Genesis of Kansas City, Orange Whip, RMI Golf Carts, Arnold Palmer Spiked, Yingling Flight, Hereford House, WHB, Alabama Golf Trail, Edward Jones, and Tito's Vodka. Special tickets at KansasCityGolfShow.com.
Don't let winter catch you off guard. Keep your family cozy with a $69 heating system tune-up from Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. We have pros available 7 days a week to keep your system running at peak efficiency, helping prevent costly breakdowns, lower energy bills, and keep your home warm all winter long. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
Max Minute on Twitter and Instagram every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, and Odyssey Sports Station.
Welcome back. Happy President's Day. 3 o'clock hour. Jay Binkley, Jackson Ogden. from night to doing some day stuff at this point. You still you still team draft receiver at 9, or have you switched to edge? Or are you edge first? I didn't know. I can't remember where you was at.
Yeah, no, I've been open to both.
And I know you really liked it.
I've been open to both, receiver, edge. I think for me, it depends on the player that falls to you. I'm also, if he somehow does fall to you, Caleb Downs is somebody I'm interested in just because I don't know what we're going to do at safety next year. Brian Cook's an impending free agent. We'll see. But, for me, it's best player available. My dream guy right now is David Bailey. That's who I would like.
Is it, do you honestly think Caleb Downs is the best player in the first round? I 100% do, actually.
I think it's interesting because positionally we saw a couple years ago.
I don't think the Chiefs need it, but I do think he's the best player.
A couple years ago, we saw this with Kyle Hamilton, right? Where people didn't take him just because he was a safety. And then he falls to Baltimore, and he's been great for them. And we saw it last year with Nicky Manwari.
He can return the ball, too. He doesn't get a chance to do it much, but Caleb Downs is very good at that.
And Manwari for the Seahawks last year, they get him in the second round, and he was a huge piece of their defense this year. So if Caleb Downs were there at 9, I don't know if he will be, but if he were, that would also be something I'd be interested in. But, yeah, my guy's been David Bailey, Bink. That's just kind of the guy I've been stuck on for now.
And he's probably going to be a situation where Bain's gone, Bailey's gone, a mixture of Tate and or Lemon's gone, maybe both. It certainly hurts that there's no other quarterback besides Mendoza in front of the Chiefs. That's the part that sucks.
That stinks.
Because this draft looked loaded at quarterbacks when the season started.
Yeah, you thought
and
it
then
was Nussmeier, Klubnik, Drew Allar. You thought you were going to have tons of first-round guys. Arch Manning, not the case.
So now it's the 27 draft class with the quarterbacks because I don't know if you've seen the underclassmen. Right now, I think there's 63 underclassmen going for the draft. 277 have been invited to the combine. 2021, there was 131. Then nil started.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 years ago, it's almost 54% more underclassmen in the draft, but they're staying to become more student athletes, right?
Yeah, totally.
Like Kansas State says student athletes.
Totally.
Yeah, they're staying just for classwork. It's 100% why they're staying.
They're very
Let's forget about the money and stuff like that in the cars. No, they're student athletes.
They're very studious. They care about their academics.
Yeah. The student athletes, Kansas State. That's embarrassing to the student athletes. But are we both in the same camp that you wouldn't get a running back at the 9th pick?
I talked about this last week with Mac. The only way I would go Jeremiah Love at 9 is if they somehow struck out on every free agent running back. Like, I'm saying they didn't bring in anybody. You don't bring in an Algier, who I would really like them to bring in.
$3.5 to $5 million is all he would cost. You could maybe even get it on a 1 to 2 year type contract, maybe even 1 year.
If it's draft night and the only back on your roster is Brashard Smith, okay. Jeremiah Love at 9 would make some sense.
And GMs do like to have a roster set before they go into the draft.
Yeah.
So then you're not 100% relying on dude. That's why the Chiefs went out and got Jalen Moore.
Yes.
It was a backup plan because, Simmons happened to be there. They weren't expecting that.
Well, do you remember, I think it was 2023, that they drafted, they didn't get the tackle they wanted, and then a couple weeks later, might not have even been a couple weeks later, they signed Donovan Smith at left tackle, and there was a lot of rumors
because Kingsley wasn't ready.
Well, and the Chiefs wanted that draft Anton Harrison, who went to the Jags a little bit in front of them, so they couldn't get him. That's when they took Felix Anudike-Uzomah. So, yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what the roster looks like, but I am pretty much a no at running back at 9, even though I do really think Jeremiah Love's great. Like, he is fantastic.
Well, that's why that question of how many first-round grades do you have on guys? Because remember Trent McDuffie? They jumped up to get him at 21.
Because
they jumped up because they actually had a first-round grade on him.
A lot of these GMs only have about 16 first-round grades, too.
And the Chiefs actually used, or in their own mind, no one cares how many they have, but it is important when it comes to draft, how many guys they think are quality first-rounders when they come out with their list before the draft begins, to 15 or 13 to 18 players. In Kansas City, when the draft was here, was a lot less. There wasn't as, quote, first-round grades, but all of a sudden Trent McDuffie, who they had a first-round grade, all of a sudden becomes tangible. They can go up and get him. They went up and got him.
Absolutely. And on top of that, they jumped Buffalo to get him, and then Buffalo had to settle for Kaiir Elam, who was a major bust at the position.
Isn't that funny how Buffalo got screwed in that deal?
Yeah. It seems like Buffalo gets screwed in the draft by Kansas City quite often these days. But
I wouldn't answer their phone call, but they keep doing it. Beaton keeps doing it. He keeps getting promoted.
They keep doing business with us. I don't know why, but they keep doing it. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I think what we do at 9 is going to heavily depend on how we handle free agency. And so that's going to be the interesting part about all of this. To me, I really like some day 2, day 3, or second round, third round running backs. Darian Price, his backup, Jeremiah Love's backup, that is, at Notre Dame, good back. You got Katron Allen coming out of Penn
He's very
State.
good back. Darian Price is often seen as the second best running back in his class. Matter of fact, he actually had more yards rushing against Reuben Bain and company in the Hurricanes
than
from Miami. He actually outran Love in that game as a backup.
And he's also a special teams contributor. But that's, I've been watching some of his film, and he's been doing a lot of that as well. Curious what you think about Emmett Johnson out of Nebraska. Little twitchy guy.
Well, we like him a lot because he was in our first mock we did.
Yeah, I really like him, and I think he could be a nice pass-catching back, too.
Oh, that's one thing he does. He had 46 catches. You just don't want to fall into the same trap as a Clyde, because Clyde had 1,000 and he had 50 catches. But that offense was ridiculous. I mean, Jamar Chase was part of that offense. Joe Burrow. I mean, they had 14 draft picks on the LSU team that won the national title, and Clyde was certainly part of it. But you're not getting a first-round running back in Emmett Johnson. You get him in probably the third round at that point. But he had 46 catches on the year, which would have put him number 2 in the FBS. The run blocking, okay. The pass blocking, that's like the one part that needs to work on with him. But he did lead the Big Ten in yards running.
No,
and
he's fast.
We liked him. We
He's
put him in our
twitchy.
mock.
He's very twitchy, and he's someone that caught my eye when I started doing my film for this draft season.
He obviously caught our eye, too, because we liked him.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have
with that or Jonah Coleman, and I would definitely go with
Jonah Coleman's another one that
Emmett
I've
Johnson.
been looking at, and, of course, Nicholas Singleton, who he's going to be a real gamble.
Katron Allen, that's a choose your weapon there.
There's a lot of interesting backs in this class. I think Jeremiah Love is clearly the S-tier number 1, but after that, there's a lot of interesting backs.
And in 27, you have Ahmad Hardy.
Ahmad Hardy's coming out. There's going to be more bodies coming out at running back. I mean, we'll see. I think Jeremiah Love at 9 would have to be under very, very specific circumstances.
The text line 816 says, I don't want defensive players, especially downs. I'm with you on there. I consider him the top player there, but that's not what the Chiefs need. They say you don't just draft totally for need, but if you put the 3 positions they really need, wide receiver, edge, defensive line, I mean, those are categories. Can they get better at linebacker? Yeah. Bryce Betcher at Oregon we had because the guy's a tackling machine, and that's something they could use. Teammate Abasa when he was at Oregon, they could use him. The guy I really like is his safety at Miami. It's one of the Hurricanes. It's not Messidor. It's not Reuben Bain. It's Jacoby Thomas, their safety, who a lot of times people didn't have on their mocks. But Chris and I, we do character concerns because we're not Johnny-come-latelys. We actually do this all year round, all year, June, July, August, September, October, November. You watch these guys, and he was doing things that were just insane for safety. He had 3.5 sacks, 5 interceptions, 6 passes defended, and he led Miami each week in tackles, except for one where he was second, but there was 1 tackle behind. You can probably get him in the 5th or 6th round. That's why I'm saying the Chiefs, because they've had really good luck getting defensive backs in the mid to late rounds. But that's a guy that I'd certainly look at if I was the Chiefs, Jacoby Thomas.
And I'm sure, and we'll see what happens if they do trade Trent McDuffie. I know there's been a little bit of smoke there. We'll see if that happens. If they were to deal McDuffie, you'd have to imagine defensive back becomes a bigger priority in the draft as well, especially if you lose Jalen Watson to free agency, Joshua Williams to free agency. Outside of Noel Williams, then next year, who would you have? So, and of course, even if you keep McDuffie, it's his last year on his contract. Can you pay him?
What's the question, too, with Rashee Rice?
Also that.
Like, I was always thinking that you could probably get a more affordable extension because of everything that's happened off the field being suspended, because if it happens again, it's going to be a lot more than 6 games.
Yeah.
So that kind of brings things down, and all the money you're having to spend on the deal that was in the offseason down there, and you might get a more affordable deal. But it is the last year of the contract. So if you don't make any moves forward on any kind of extension or whatever, you got Worthy. You got Worthy at this point. Like, the future for the position is not locked solid for the Kansas City Chiefs now. And it's not locked solid with whoever they bring out the last couple of years.
I mean,
that room is extremely, extremely thin.
It's Worthy. Maybe there's something there with Jalen Royals. You'll see in year 2, I guess. He didn't get much of an opportunity this year. Rice has some off-the-field stuff that's very concerning, and it feels like being able to depend on him is getting
I wish we
tough.
would have. That's the one thing. That's kind of one of the regrets from the season. You didn't find out what Jalen Royals was. Yeah, towards the end, he did get on the field a little bit, but you weren't targeting him. Once the Chiefs were officially eliminated, I mean, we saw Hollywood Brown out there doing routes and stuff. That didn't make sense. Jalen Royals, see what he's got against NFL competition so he's not thrown in there, because next year's essentially his rookie year. Even though he was basically redshirted by the Chiefs this year,
didn't give
in
him
a
any
position they
playing time.
didn't need to have somebody redshirted because they lost their starter for 6 games, and then Worthy went down for 3.
Right.
From the beginning, and he couldn't get on the
Thornton
field.
was your number 1 receiver for a couple weeks there. You're telling me Jalen Royals couldn't have gotten on the field then?
But, so yeah, it's just throwing one dart, man. They better be good. That's why I'm always an advocate of taking more than one, because you never know if you're going to have a puka.
Well, it's tough this year because they only have 6 picks, right?
Well, it's like Jawan Jennings. People like Jawan Jennings when he's a free agent. Frisco, 7th-round pick. What's what happens when you throw more than one dart at a receiver? You get the Jawan Jennings types, the Puka Nacua types, the Torrey Horton types. You get other guys that from the mid to late rounds where you're like, man, wish we would have thrown a dart on one of those guys. But as far as the running back room, I'm with you. I'm with Tyler Algier.
I love me some Algier.
Richard Smith and then draft one.
100%.
And then you draft one.
I love that. I love the thought process there. That's where I'm at, too.
So, yeah, Brees Hall, somebody like that would have been great. That's fine. But you got to look at what positions cost you money. Obviously, going out and getting tight end, running back's not going to cost you nearly as much as wide receiver. Because wide receiver, unless you're drafting them, you're going to pay a heavy wide receiver tax
you're paying
of $25 million. Alec Pierce is a good receiver for the Colts.
He's going to get paid like
He's
$25
going to
million
get $25
annually.
a year.
Yeah.
Is he really worth $25 million a year?
Probably
well,
not.
That's the way you're going to pay for big-time wide receivers.
But that's the market.
In that second contract. Unless you get like a Mike Evans or a Keenan Allen type going back to Chargers, which I was 100% for the Chiefs last year, getting Keenan Allen.
Yeah, Keenan Allen was big on your boy. I remember
He would have been fine with the Chiefs.
He would have been perfect in our system last year. Yeah, I remember I started here at the station in June. One of the first conversations we ever had, you were like, man, I'd love if the Chiefs brought in Keenan Allen. And at the time, I was like, I kind of like our wide receiver room already. And then as the season went on, I was like, Bink had a point. Like, Keenan Allen could have been nice in this receiver room.
Yeah, see, but the breakdown of positions, I might surprise you. There's a few positions that definitely surprised me. We'll go over those next.
You're listening to Jay Binkley and Jackson Ogden on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Whether you're commuting to work or heading out for a fast coffee break, getting an auto insurance quote is just a tap away. With AAA, you're always connected, so you can focus on the road ahead. Rest easy knowing AAA's got you covered, no matter where life takes you. AAA, we're always with you. To start your quote, visit AAA.com/insurance. Insurance provided to qualified AAA members by Automobile Club Inter-Insurance Exchange and AAA affiliate insurers. Membership requires a separate payment.
So, you're ready to propose, huh? Yeah, man. She's definitely the one. What are we thinking about the ring? I got my wife's at Hellsberg. I couldn't recommend a better jeweler. I could use some help with that. Man, go to Hellsberg. I had no idea how many details you need to consider. Did you know you can get a natural or lab-grown diamond? I didn't. Figure out what she wants. Trust me, they'll make it happen.
Start your story with Hellsberg. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob Brennan from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the upcoming World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And I'm Scott Parks from Dane and Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch, KC features the biggest names who helped make the World Cup in Kansas City possible. And there was a lot of work, plus the major storylines heading into this summer's tournament.
This is so much more. This isn't just a podcast about soccer.
No, you're right, Rob. It's a podcast about Kansas City, for Kansas City, telling the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes drop every Wednesday starting on March 4th, along with video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ social channels.
So make sure you subscribe. Download Beyond the Pitch KC with Rob Brennan and myself, Scott Parks, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
That's another amazing run by Team USA.
Mom, think I'll be on Team USA one day?
Well, I'll take this one.
What? Are you speaking to us?
Yes, and to answer your question, anything's possible, especially with Xfinity.
So, I can be the best snowboarder ever?
Well, I can't guarantee that, but Xfinity can guarantee that your internet price won't change for 5 years.
Okay. What if I practice every day?
Then maybe you'll be snowboarding for Team USA at the next Olympic Winter Games. And Mom, you'll still be paying the same price for Wi-Fi.
Ooh, really stuck the landing there. It's the Xfinity Gold Medal Celebration. Now through February 22nd, get our best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed, just $50 a month. Plus, get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. That's a $10.99 value per month. Xfinity. Imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Actual speeds vary.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. Do you feel stupid for buying a timeshare? Don't. It's not your fault. You were most likely told you could rent it, and it was a great financial investment. And the deal was available today only. If this happened to you, contact your resort or Wesley Financial Group for help today.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-939-1441. 800-939-1441.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Football season is officially over, but the offseason is just beginning, and 96.5 The Fan will be there every step of the way. We'll have people at the Combine in Indianapolis. We'll be at Arrowhead during free agency. And yes, we'll be live in Pittsburgh for the NFL Draft in April. One of the biggest off-seasons in recent history is underway, and there's only one station you need to listen to, right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Text line likes Rashad White, Kansas City guy, right? From Kansas City. He's a free agent running back. Somebody could bring in. He's 27. Algiers 25, man. Algiers ran for 1,000 yards in the NFL. Doesn't it kind of remind you of Priest Holmes in a way, in what he did? Priest Holmes ran for 1,000 yards 1 year in Baltimore. Remember that? He ran for 1,008 yards his second year when he was in Baltimore. Undrafted guy in Priest Holmes, but he's behind Jamal Lewis. And, you know, you look at a guy like Algier, set behind Bijan, because he has 1,000 yards in the NFL. They draft Bijan Robinson right there, right after 1,000 yards for Algier, right after. And so, you know, he's run 500 yards, something like that. His last year at BYU, by the way, see the connection there, BYU and Andy Reid? His last year at BYU, he had 1,600 yards rushing, 23 touchdowns. He had 28 catches for 199 yards. So it's your short yardage back situation and a guy that can still carry the lumber, a guy that, you know, he was sat behind Bijan.
I was going to say he's been lost in Bijan's shadow, but he's a very productive back. And
not your featured, because that's somebody you hope you can draft.
Doesn't have to be your featured, though. I mean, like, I think Algier's better than any back you had on the roster this past year.
And I'm not calling Priest Holmes, by the way. I said he had a very Priest Holmes-like beginning to his career. But they both had 1,000 yards in their career, but found themselves behind another running back.
Yeah, no, I really am on board with you with the Algier thing, just because also it's not going to be that expensive. He's not going to demand Breece Hall money or Kenneth Walker money. You're going to be able to bring him in on a cost-effective deal. And then, like you said, keep Rashard Smith in the backfield and then draft another guy. All of a sudden, your running game should be much, much better in 2026 than it was in 2025.
I just think you had him, Rashard, just different skill sets at running backs, just different skill sets for what you have. Same, you've always felt with wide receiver, but it's a lot of the same type of guys. Then you go outside the box and you bring in an MVS who was 6'4", ran a 4.37 at the combine. You're like, man, this guy's got the size, the speed, everything he wants, but he didn't play 6'4".
Couldn't also hang on to the football either. That you talk about drops. That was another problem with him.
To some extent, I think Pacheco has not played like the guy you thought you had. There was a reason he went in the 7th round. There's a reason why he did. He had 4.37 speed at the combine. Pacheco came out of the draft as a very very fast running back. We just didn't get to see those open creases for him to utilize that 4.37 speed. He ran with a lot of power and stuff early, but not on third down, not on fourth down, but the early downs he did.
Absolutely. And, I think that injury against the Bengals in 2024, week 2, where he broke his leg, he came back that year, he didn't look right. And then this past year, just didn't look like the same guy either. And I was high on Pacheco coming into the year. I thought he gets the full offseason to recover from that injury. He'll get back to Isaiah Pacheco that we knew and saw his first 2 years. Unfortunately, last year, just the running game in general was a mess. Mahomes was the leading rusher half the time he was out there. So, Pacheco's probably moving on, and it's probably best for both parties. And
sure, he got his rings.
We'll see what they do with the position. But, I didn't think they did enough last offseason with the position. Just bringing in Elijah Mitchell, I liked Brashard Smith, but a 7th round.
Dameon Pierce is still here.
That's true. Dameon Pierce on the roster. If he makes the final 53, we'll see. But yeah,
they like Algier. Text line likes Algier. I've liked Algier.
I'm glad that we can spread the
message.
message.
I liked him back in the mock season. We used to do it when he came out of the draft. I thought the Chiefs. I want to see the Chiefs take a chance. What's that?
Was he at FAU?
BYU.
BYU. That's right.
Yeah, Andy Reid, the BYU connection.
That's right.
But the text line likes him. Algier, the 402 says 1,000-yard back, just waiting to happen. Well, he's already done it. It's not waiting to happen
again.
Yes, it could happen again. He's been 1,000. He's been around the 500, in that 500 to 600 yards behind Bijan. Like he sat behind there. And Bijan's a stud. I get that. He's a stud.
Bijan's top 3 in the league. But, the thing is, he's had 500, 600 yards as the backup. Our starters had 500, 600 yards last year running the football. So, you give him the opportunity at more carries. I really like the idea of him, and I hope Atlanta doesn't bring him back. I would really like to bring Tyler Algier in, and, you're a little hard-pressed against the cap. He's not going to hurt you too bad either. That's the good part about him.
No, he wouldn't. You could move on if it didn't work out, but you're hoping your draft pick works out. You're hoping Brashard's still got something now with, former running back as your offensive coordinator, Bieniemy, which he came here day one with Andy Reid as a running backs coach, and clearly, offensive coordinator, like he hasn't elevated past that position once he left Kansas City, but then he went back to Chicago and was running backs coach for the Bears and learned from Ben Johnson some stuff too that he carried on with Andy Reid. So I do expect the running game to go up with Eric Bieniemy here. And there's more accountability now when guys come on the sideline.
Well, look at Kyle Monungai this year in Chicago. He was a 7th-round pick, coincidentally also out of Rutgers, just like Pacheco. And the Bears had him looking great this year. He was the split back with DeAndre Swift. So I'm really excited to see what Bieniemy can do with whoever we bring in, because he's clearly got the ability to get the most out of running backs. Even when it was Damian Williams here, or Darrell Williams, Jerick McKinnon, any of those guys. Derek Gore even had a couple of nice games here. Like, Bieniemy's elevated these guys, not to be elite, not to be 1,000-yard rushers, but he's gotten the most out of these guys.
And to be honest with you, when you have a wide open offense like it was in the beginning, and you've got a quarterback that's elite in Patrick Mahomes, guess what? Being a running back for the Chiefs, that's a really good gig. That is a really good job. You're not going
to get beat up like you will somewhere else.
Because you know why? Those safeties are backing up to be too high for Patrick Mahomes.
Absolutely.
So those safeties not creeping up on the line because they're worried about Mahomes throwing over top of them. And so being a running back for the Kansas City Chiefs was a pretty optimal thing to have, but it just doesn't work out that way with the Chiefs as far as the running game, except for Kareem Hunt. That did work out as a running back for the Kansas City Chiefs because he led the NFL in rushing yards. And, oh, by the way, he played for Andy Reid too, so it can happen. It's not just a myth. Andy Reid can have the leading rusher in the National Football League.
We have seen it.
So it could happen. As far as we look at top 25 mock. Did I do this with you at night, Jackson, one night?
We haven't, no.
Well, I know Chris and I will do it. We started a couple weeks ago. Chris had 25. We look at draft trends, where they kind of have players. And instead of doing mocks like we used to, we just pick players that we liked for which rounds. We use one of those tools where other people are drafting in it. Computers are doing it. So you want to kind of know just a general idea who's going to be there. What are you going to be looking at with said position? Like, for instance, if you think the second tier of edge are better than second tier of wide receiver, Dane Brugler was bragging about these edges. A lot of guys are these second-round type edges that you can get in the NFL draft. So you got to weigh it. These top 4 receivers, are they better than the top 4 edges if the edge is already gone? Do you go for a receiver at that point? Do you value the top 4 receivers all the way through maybe Mekhi Lemon? Do you value those guys more than edges at that point? So you got to make that decision which direction to go, which position is going to be deeper. So I look at this every single time I'm on. And at the 25, I looked at it from all over the place. Pro Football Focus, Draft Network. I'll throw in NFL.com if they have a fresh one. ESPN with Field Yates, stuff like that. And again, I think a lot of times, like when a Field Yates or a Kuiper throws out a mock, right? You'll see a lot of that player and other mocks. You know why? Oh, Mel took him. I better put him down,
right.
For the Chiefs getting him.
Right.
So, and again, as we've said, Jackson, things change, and they change a lot. When you go to the Combine,
drastically.
they will change drastically. Post-Combine mocks are certainly better than the ones that are out there right now. And certainly once you get that last week before the draft is you start getting a lot better. And kind of like, remember you said the bracket guy?
Yeah.
The NCAA bracket guy? Because it's hard when someone says, I picked them in the Final Four. And you're like, dude, you've got like 10 brackets. Which one is your real one? Which one is the one that you're banking on being the player? Or did you keep the same team? Did you keep Florida the whole way through? Did you keep the same team going all the way through? Or did you change them every time?
I always have to do 2 brackets every year, a coin toss bracket and a logo bracket. Those have to be done on top of my serious bracket. But, yeah.
So I looked all the way from USA Today, Cleveland.com, you name it.
Looking around, shopping around.
But 25, and they do change, and they do fluctuate. And running back has been weird because we've gotten as high as 14 out of 25 all Jeremiah Love. When I say running back, there's only one running back.
Yeah.
It's Jeremiah Love. That's who everybody's taking. This time it actually went up a little bit from 212 when it was on. Running back was 14. Wide receiver, only 3 of them. Safety was 2. And obviously you can guess that's Caleb Downs. And that's only 3 edges. That was back on 212.
Okay.
It changed. But right now, as of, what's today, 2/16?
16, 4 days later, yeah.
So 2/16, out of the top 25, running back, you have 12. And, of course, that's all Jeremiah Love because it's going to be the only first-round running back to be gone. Edge with 5 this time. 5 of the 25 was edge. 3 wide receivers. 3 safety. There was 3 Caleb Downs picks out of the 25. 1 offensive tackle, 1 corner. And it was a trade back. They had the Chiefs trading back and getting Avion Terrell. They got him hit the end of the round. So It wasn't a pick 9 for that one. But the edges were 4 of them were Reuben Bain. Obviously, that's because Bailey, a lot of them going earlier than that. Guess what the wild card was? Zion
Young?
Yeah. Yep.
At 9?
He had a great Senior Bowl week.
Wow.
He had a great Senior Bowl game. He was MVP of the American team, not of the game. That was Nussmeier, but they gave one for the American International, then a game MVP. But Zion had a fumble recovery. Did something. Zion's got a motor.
Oh, yeah.
I think we had him we mocked him at 40. I don't think he's going to last till 40.
I think he's
being towards the end of the first round at this point. That's probably where he is. Now, after the Combine, he could be top 15. We don't know. 15 to 20, somewhere in that area.
He's kind of creeping up like a Darius Robinson that Mizzou did a couple years ago.
He could. He's creeping up
It's
big
kind of
time.
feeling the same way, where he's creeping into the first round, surely but slowly.
He's climbing. The wide receivers were all Mekhi Lemon. 2 of them were Mekhi Lemon, and 1 was Jordan Tyson.
Wow.
Which Jordan Tyson's got the size that you want. He's got that tool. My thing with him is just durability. That's the big knock on Jordan Tyson. He's extremely, when he's playing, he's extremely good wide receiver. I mean, honestly. He catches everything, break containment, can do a lot of different things when he plays. But he's only played in like 45% of the games that he's been available because of the PCL, the ACL, where he had to miss the year back in 22. He's had the collarbone this year with the hamstring injuries and things like that. I don't know about you. And things do change when you get to the NFL. Sometimes guys that were hurt a lot in college, it does change when you get to the NFL and you've got different trainers, looking out after you. But, man, availability is so big, man. Availability is so big. I don't care how good you are, but, man, if you're not playing, what good's it do?
It's the best ability, Bink, availability.
You got to have availability.
Got to be out there.
But Mekhi Lemon had 2 of the 3. So, basically, we're seeing wide receivers about 3 out of the 25. I think, honestly, when we start passing the Combine, you're going to see a split. You're going to see 12, maybe 11 or 12 wide receivers, 12 edges, so to speak. I think it's going to be more receivers in edge. I think it's going to be split down between those as the top two positions the Chiefs will go when we get closer. It'll be the edge and wide receiver. Do you like Lemon?
I do. I like him a lot. You know who I think he kind of reminds me of a little bit? Kind of an Anquan Bolden. I kind of saw that within his tape. And, you know, I'm not my full final analysis on these guys won't be done until we get closer, but just watching him, man, he's good. I really was impressed by Lemon. He's
5'11", but again, we talk about guys that play bigger than they are. He's one of them. Like, it's tough sometimes. People are like, dude's not 6 foot because he plays like he is. He plays like 6'1", plays like he's 6'2". Tyreek Hill played bigger than he was. Everybody 100%. Likes Tyreek Hill. Don't forget, Tyreek Hill played bigger than he was. He's under 6 foot. I mean, it's guys, certain guys play bigger. And Mekhi Lemon creates separation. He beats man coverage. He does some things they can't do. Oh, by the way, his last 175 targets, 3 drops. 172 out of 75, 175 he's caught. 3 drops for Mekhi Lemon.
That'd be a welcome sight in Kansas City for sure.
And he can block. Doesn't mind blocking when he's out there. But Mekhi Lemon does a lot of different things. Guy's impressive.
I really like him.
I like Cardell Tate a lot, too, because route running, obviously, one of the better route runners. He and Lemon are the best route runners in this draft. And Cardell Tate and Mekhi Lemon have the best hands in this draft. Tate is bigger, but there's always that concern when you're on, you know, when Jeremiah Smith's there. When the best receiver on that team is not you. That's a concern. It's just like the whole Ruben Bain argument. They're going to have 2 edges drafted in the first round. The Hurricanes are. Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain. Mesidor actually led Miami in sacks this year, not Ruben Bain. But there's one thing I really look at when it comes to these picks. I'm curious your thoughts on it. We'll talk about that next.
You're listening to Jay Binkley and Jackson Ogden on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Hold on tight. Things are spinning into action. At Harris, Kansas City on Saturday, February 28th, it's the $50,000 Spincredible event. Take your turn at the giant prize wheel and spin your way up to $5,000 in free play. And the excitement keeps turning because at 10 p.m., one lucky winner will walk away with $50,000 in cash. Keep those entries rolling with 5 times entries on Sundays, February 15th, 22nd, and Friday, February 27th. Spin big, win big. Only at Harris's Kansas City. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Men, we all know how important sex is in a relationship, both for you and your partner. But erectile dysfunction ruins sex, which can often have serious impacts on your relationship as well. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, you understand the impacts it has on you and the one you love. But I'm here to tell you that ED is a treatable condition, and almost without exception, you can have really good sex again. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men with protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, good sex will be the norm. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a level of intimacy for you and your partner that might just astound you both. It's time to have really good sex again, so call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Wouldn't you like to take a vacation from your bills? Well, you can. With credit card balances at an all-time high and Golden Oak's 4.5% rate, you could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call. Call today and get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments for 2 months. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending, cured my blues.
5.442 APR, FHA 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit, additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Bill Barnwell has some NFL trades that make sense for both teams. Yes, Jackson, a trade that you and I talked about is on the list. Talk about that when we come back. But as far as things to look at, because obviously the draft, people are thinking a lot. This town has loved the draft. I'll be honest with you. When the draft was in Kansas City, that definitely spawned some interest, I think, from people that maybe not partake in the draft as much because, drafts are awesome. They move around. You have 300,000-400,000 people. You're meeting all these fans from other teams. And there was an interest here in 2023 when the Chiefs had the draft. And they had, 300,000-400,000 people in Kansas City. They had 650 in Nashville. They got up to almost 1 million, they're saying, in Detroit when it was there. You had, 450 to 500,000 in Green Bay. It's in Pittsburgh this year. They're expecting 700,000 people at the draft in Pittsburgh this year. They have 12 picks. This was going to be their coronation of getting a quarterback, right? This was going to be the year. You utilize those 12 picks, and all of a sudden, you have Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, and other names being brought back up because there's not one to go draft. Not the next guy for Pittsburgh, so they can pipe down and eat their Pomani brothers.
I just want to give up everything to go get Mendoza. And, yeah, I'd say no. Probably no quarterback in this one for them. It'll probably be a vet and then Will Howard as the backup again.
What's the number one thing you look at when you look at the draft and let's say there's a guy that you really like and say, okay, and by the way, the Steelers are picking 21st, so they'd have to make a jump above 12 picks. You can certainly do some maneuvering. And I'm sure in front of their 700,000 fans that won't be Pittsburgh fans, of course, fans from all over the place. But what's one thing you look at? Do you look at who they played? I bring this up because when John Dorsey was here as GM, they did invites and stuff to go out there and kind of see the war room, kind of how they do things, how Dorsey would go around looking at prospects. And one of the things that I always thought was interesting with John when he was here, but he cared really about who you played. Like that was important. You play in Alabama or Middle Tennessee State, like those games. Like if you're a receiver and another team has 2 draftable corners, because we know in college football, there's a lot of guys that are going to be selling State Farm next year. I mean, that's just the way it goes. The percentages aren't there. We have 138 teams now with Sacramento State, North Dakota State jumping up. So, yeah, you have a lot of players playing that won't be playing in the National Football League. Be care who they played, maybe when they played them, what kind of talent was on the other side. Was draft like you have a corner, and they're going against a team like Indiana. I think Indiana's got 4 draftable receivers: Elijah Sarrad, Omar Cooper. Just taking Charlie Becker. Not this year; he's not eligible, but next year, he'll be going in the draft. But basically 4 guys. And then your running backs, Kalen Black, who's not going to the combine for some reason, and Roman Hemby. They have a lot of draftable talent. So did you face Indiana? Who'd you face? Do you ever look at game logs, Jackson? Is that usually one of your tools, or what are your tools when you put things together besides the film? I know you watch a lot of film.
Yeah, I'm a big film guy. It depends on the position a lot. Like if I'm scouting a quarterback and I'm seeing, okay, you played South Dakota State in this game, who, they're an FCS school, not a bad one, but at, FCS level, versus are you playing Georgia's defense? Obviously, I'm going to grade you differently as a quarterback. But yeah, I like to look at some of the advanced metrics. Raw athletic score is another thing I really like looking at, especially with the linemen.
Chiefs love the RAS.
I'm a big RAS guy too. looking at that, just seeing those sort of things. Game logs. I kind of do an interesting thing, Bink. I like to look at their worst game of the season and their best game of the season.
Yeah.
And then I watch both before I get into the middle part of it. I want to see this dude at his peak, this dude when he failed, why both things happened, and then I kind of get into the middle of it and start to watch more of the film that way. Of course,
fair.
With guys like Cardinal Tate, you're watching them every Saturday, right? Because Ohio State's in big games. Versus if you're a guy from a small school, you're not on my TV, right? You're not even making the quad box. I got to go back to watching film. So I really have no idea who you are versus if you're a guy like Cardinal Tate, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon at receiver. I already have this somewhat of an idea of who you are, and I've watched you, not just on film, but I've watched you live.
Because Jeremiah Love, take him for example.
Sure.
They start the season playing the Hurricanes.
Not a good night for him.
Nope, and this would be one to look at because Miami's a team that kept Notre Dame out of the playoffs.
They did.
Very important game. Jeremiah Love in that game, 33 yards rushing, 3.3 yard average, no touchdowns. His backup, by the way, Jadarian Price, had 6 carries, 45 yards, 7.5 per. He outperformed Jeremiah Love as the backup. And you look at Jeremiah Love, okay, he had 157 yards against Purdue. That's good stuff. But you had less than 100 on 23 carries against A&M. First 2 teams you played on the season, both made the playoffs. You had less than 100 yards in both of them. Does it matter how you did against the Hurricanes or the Aggies? Or do you care more about the 136 yards he had against Boston College? Like, what stands out to you? Which games do you pad your stats with? Reuben Bain, same example. I get a lot of Reuben Bain's my dude, a lot of text, and I say, okay, which game? Which game? Because weeks 3 through 10, Bain had a sack and a half. That's it. He went in a 8-week stretch just having half a sack. So is it that, either the 3 that he had in the playoff game against A&M, or are we looking at the Ole Miss semifinal game where he had none? I mean, he was outperformed by Messidor quite a bit. But he went week 3 through 10 with a sack and a half.
Yeah. And
that's the number 9 pick right there. So when you say, all right, well, Reuben Bain's my guy, why? Because you saw it in a mock, or because is there a game that stood out to you? Because he disappeared a lot, and that's definitely what you don't want to draft. You want a guy that's going to be performing every game. You don't want to sit here throughout the week going, where was so-and-so? He didn't show up, didn't have no stats, none. You don't want a guy that's going to disappear for 4 games and then show up and have nice 2 sacks in 1 game, but doesn't do crap for 4 straight games.
And I think, and I'm not the biggest Reuben Bain guy, but if I could play a little devil's advocate to you just to defend the people who are Reuben Bain guys, I think it's the motor with him, right?
And then we're not even talking arm length here. Just the motor, things like that. He does have that.
He just, every play, I mean, he might not have the stats to show for it, but he gets pressures, and he does go hard every play. He never takes a snap off. And I think for a lot of people watching, that's something that's attractive as a pass rusher.
And here's the thing I like most. I think he's going to be moved the inside.
Probably.
And the best thing is he said he's willing to do it.
That's good.
Is he more of a 5? Can he do some 3 technique? Can he play on the inside? Can he do it? He said he's willing to do it, which shows a lot about who he is. So, yeah, it could definitely find a better spot for him than constantly going at edge. But I'm always curious which game you're watching, like which is the standout game to you. Because he had a great game against USC. Jeremiah Love did, 228 yards. But his backup had 13 for 87, 6.7 per, and a touchdown. Meaning one big thing, USC sucked at run defense.
Yeah, the O-line for Notre Dame was doing its job.
Josh Vernier comes our direction at 4 o'clock live from Surprise, Arizona. But coming up next, down in Surprise today, JJ talked, Q talked, John Sherman talked. Bring you John Sherman before we talk to Josh Vernier at 4. Does he address the stadiums? Does he address the outfield? What exactly does he address? We play that next.
You're listening to Jay Binkley and Jackson Ogden on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
This is Kevin Harlan, and I'm here with Rob Seid of Rob Seid Ford. Fresh off a record-breaking year and a successful run at Ford's 2025 Top Volume Award. Rob, how did you do it?
Kevin, it's simple. We pulled out all the stops on price, on trade values, on inventory, and made sure our customers got an experience they couldn't find anywhere else.
Well, the race isn't over. 2026 is here, and you're back in the chase again.
That's right, and we're going even harder this year. More inventory, more aggressive trade-in values, and a buying experience other dealers just can't match.
Well, you're not just talking, you've got the receipts. Kansas City's only top-rated Ford dealer on Google, 4.8 stars with nearly 3,000 reviews. Voted best car dealership in Kansas City by KC Magazine.
The recognition matters, but what actually matters is how you feel when you call or visit Rob Site Ford.
Inventory, value, transparency, and no pressure. That's why people keep coming back.
Come see us at 135th and State Line or visit us online at robsight.com.
Rob Site Ford. Buy right. Drive happy.
Steve here with Connolly Plumbing Solutions, your neighborhood plumber. February romance once again. Buy one toilet, get one half off. Who needs more jewelry? Nothing is more romantic than a beautiful toilet. Be original with your gift. What could go wrong? You know it's what your person really wants. So call Connolly at 913-768-7676 or visit ConnollyPlumbingSolutions.com to schedule.
QC Kinetics helps active people stay active. People like David Boardman, police officer, competitive athlete, and gym owner who trains hard almost every day.
My body's taken a lot of abuse over the years. I've had multiple knee surgeries on both of my knees. I could barely run a mile prior to going to QC Kinetics. Doctors have all told me, hey, you are going to need knee replacements.
But QC Kinetics gave David great news.
We're going to give you the opportunity to have not one, but 2 healthy knees, and we don't have to cut you open.
And after David's regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics?
Since I've gone to them, I run 20, 30 miles a week. I really wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for QC Kinetics.
From knee pain to Ironman training.
It's a no-brainer.
Now it's your turn. Call QC Kinetics to book your free consultation today.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable Scent Boosters to give your laundry non-stop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
Your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
boss, 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 bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppables beads to your wash for 24-hour non-stop freshness so you can smell unstoppable.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Lance only sends me his mocks every single week. He calls them Mock Mondays. He has Josh Cameron on there later on. I do like Cameron a lot from Baylor. He's a good punt returner, too. I mean, he would have led the nation 2 years ago in punt returns, but he didn't have enough quite to qualify for it. But dude's a stud returning punts. So, yes, I do like some Josh Cameron. We'll get back in to some players. And, of course, a trade proposal that was put out there for Bill Barnwell. Good fits, good trades for different teams. There's one for the Kansas City Chiefs that we've actually we were discussing just today, as a matter of fact, Jackson. We were doing that. But John Sherman is, of course, the owner of the Kansas City Royals. He spoke today in Surprise, Arizona. Josh Fournier joins us at the top of the hour, but this is Sherman from just a little bit ago.
You know, I love this time of year. You know, it's I've always said this, and first of all, the weather's beautiful, the grass is green, and, you know, it's an optimistic time of year, and you're seeing new guys for the first time. You know, these are run like academies. It's just, I think it's a great part of baseball. I told somebody once that spring training was my favorite time of the year, and they said, no, John, the playoffs are your favorite time of year. But anyway, this is my second favorite time of year.
Do you expect playoffs again this year, and how do you feel about the team?
You know, I think we expect to be back. I think if you think about the teams, what JJ and Q have done, we've retooled this team. We were talking this morning, in 2023, we had. I remember talking to Q and JJ before a game. All of our position players that night, Freddie was catching, were at the minimum. There were 0 to 3 players, right? And that's not where you want to be. But Q at that time said, yeah, but John, when you have this type of opportunity to give young guys opportunity to develop, that bodes well for the future. And I think and then since then, we've obviously retooled the team with big guys, some veterans. So I'm pretty excited about this. There's that balance of young, developed talent and a good core of veterans now, which is different than where we were a couple of years ago.
John, if I could ask you a question on just your thoughts on Mayor Lucas saying that he wants to keep the team in downtown, and that's his stated goal for 2026.
Well, I appreciate him, and I appreciate that he's working very hard at that. So I appreciate the work he's doing. We're not settled yet anywhere, but I would tell you, I don't think we're that far away. And as I mentioned at Rose Rally, I've got a great sense of Dolphins. Time is not long granted. When the Chiefs made this announcement on Saturday, there was a whole new wave of enthusiasm. So I don't mean that they weren't working hard, but there's a lot of effort being put forth, and we're still evaluating Kansas, and we're still evaluating multiple locations in this area. But I do appreciate the effort that's being put forth, not only by the mayor, but by the government.
How important is it to be settled with this? I mean, this has been going on for a while.
Well, these are complicated processes. None of them are short, by the way. If you look at history, they're always long. They're multi-jurisdictional, public-private partnerships. They're complicated, but I think it's time to kind of get on with it. I know our fans have stated fatigue, deal fatigue, whatever, and we've got that too. But this is a generational decision. It's very strategic, and we got to get it right.
Is it fair to say that Missouri is a preferred choice given the effort that they've been putting in? I don't think I categorize it that way, but I really appreciate what they're doing. And I think I mentioned that. We have to be this is a business, and we have to be open-minded. Where to locate this, but I still have a bias for baseball being in the parties in the cultural center of our city. I mean, to have the ability to make it better. I think if that happens, that's going to be best in the city that large. But we have to make sure we make the right one for the city first.
You talk about expectations for this ball club. It has to be able to have the high expectations that surrounding the team right now.
I think it's good to have we took a step back last year, lost a couple of starting pitchers. We had a really difficult stretch. We had a winning season. We're in it till the end. So we're definitely heading in the right direction. And if you look at the team, I paid the right now. I was talking to Brian this morning. You think rotating, it's strong. I'm going to push up the whole place got to be better. I mean, other than just two, but Matt Strong, one of the best left-handed levers for I feel really good about that. And I know there's a lot of, there was a lot of talk about getting the big bat, but our outfield is just going to be better. That's improved work that we have done. And, I'm very optimistic about, see it cold and this good. Both down. We're pretty excited about those two. Nobody guys being complicated here.
Do you feel like the front office did enough to improve the team?
I think they did. I think that JJ, like he's done since he was in this job, I think he is going to all that he can. I think the guy worked trying to make us better every day. And some of these little trades that on the margin, you never know when you have a fire like he's not a roster invitee or something else. It's going to contribute. But even think back to the catch. We had the depth of catcher. The Padres made it a catch. We traded for Freddie, and we got two starting pitchers with 5 years of control. That's part of what we're seeing here. pitching side. Brady Fault, Bailey Falter, he had a tough time there, but that's some other. So I think a lot of people want to measure it in the offseason. This is a contender. Yeah, I don't agree with it. It's based upon opportunity, right? If something else happens, when my phone says JJ McCall, always answer it. Because sometimes that's got a time limit on income.
Was there a limit to payroll increases at all this offseason that you gave, JJ?
I think we always look at that as let's look at the opportunity, right? I think we're comfortable where our payroll is, but I think if there's a way to make our team better, you evaluate the risk.
Just to circle back to the stadium for a second, you said Turner isn't on your side as far as what the Dolphins have done moving out, and how much will it just to accelerate the process? Does that mean that you just get started?
I still think you got to do it right. And when I say time, I feel that way about our baseball team. I think in any business, you have opportunity, you should have a sense. The way they were when windows are open, you should kind of run the daily. So I think we have
So there's a lot going on in the background there with John Sherman talking.
So it sounded like you was doing
it sounded like spring training, but we have Josh Vernier live from Surprise, Arizona.
Much cleaner audio coming up.
Live, Vern. Hopefully his phone's good. Next.
You're listening to Jay Binkley and Jackson Ogden on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Stay warm and worry-free with Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. Get a new furnace absolutely free with the purchase of select HVAC systems. The pros at Hamilton make upgrading easy with flexible financing, expert installation, and energy-efficient options that can help lower your monthly energy bills. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews, plus our exceptional service guarantee, are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
Hey, it's Rob Britton from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And Rob, I'm Scott Parks from Dana and Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch KC will feature the biggest names who made the World Cup in Kansas City possible, plus the biggest storylines heading into this summer's tournament. This is not a podcast about soccer. Don't get us wrong. This is a podcast about Kansas City. This is a podcast for Kansas City. And this is a podcast that'll tell the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes will be released every Wednesday starting on March 4th, as well as video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ's social channels.
Subscribe and download to Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series with myself, Rob Bretton, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164.
If you love seafood, pull up anchor and set sail for Hy-Vee's annual Fish and Seafood Sale. Get a whale of a deal on all your favorites for Lent: salmon, tuna, trout, and catfish. Seafood lovers shrimp, crab legs, and lobster mac and cheese. Eating seafood twice a week has major health benefits. Count on Hy-Vee to sell only the freshest seafood backed by the Responsible Choice Guarantee. All hands on deck for the annual seafood sale going on now at Hy-Vee.
One thing I love doing is going to Hy-Vee. I love going up and down the aisles and finding everything I need. But sometimes we're just very busy. With 2 girls in high school right now, we are swamped. So we use Hy-Vee's aisles online. I go to the Hy-Vee app or at Hy-Vee.com. I choose the store I want, I select my items, and then Hy-Vee does all the shopping for me. All I have to do is pick it up or, better yet, have it delivered to my home. So I'm going to save time and I'm going to save money. What could be better? Only at Hy-Vee.
When shopping for a new auto insurance policy, AAA could help you customize your coverage to fit your unique needs and budget. Trust AAA Auto Insurance to help you find the balance that works for you. See how a simple switch could make a big difference. AAA, we're always with you. Visit AAA.com/insurance. Insurance provided to qualified AAA members by Automobile Club Inter-Insurance Exchange and AAA affiliate insurers. Membership requires a separate payment.
Follow us on Instagram for behind-the-scenes content at The Fan 965, KFMC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Welcome back, 4 o'clock hour. Jay Binkley, Jackson, Ogden. We're going out to Arizona right now and talk to our guy, our Royals insider, Josh Vernier. What's up, Vern?
What's going on, Bink? How you doing, buddy?
Man, just hearing these sounds of spring behind the interviews, you know, with the tractors going, you hear the crack of the bat. I mean, it's so spring-like. I would be extremely jealous, except it's like 70 degrees here. And I was curious because I did wonder the other night when you left to Arizona, it was 77 degrees here. And I don't think in the history of you ever flying to Arizona, it was 77 when you left.
No, I can't imagine. No, I left early on Monday, so I don't think it was 77 just yet. But by the time I landed, I know my wife and everybody back in Kansas City, they weren't jealous of the heat out here in Arizona. No, you guys got it going well out there.
So JJ talked today, Q talked today, John Sherman talked today. What's kind of the sentiment? You heard a little bit there, you know, from John Sherman about the expectations for this team going forward. Is it kind of 100% everybody on board? This is a playoff team. Not just saying it, but believing this is a playoff team.
Yeah, they all say it. They all believe it. But to me, man, and I made this point out at FanFest or Royals Rally, I think we as a sports city, I think we're past words. Maybe, but Bink, you can tell me if I'm wrong, man. Maybe it's just because I've been coming out here now for 14 years and I've heard it all before. I remember Mike Matheny telling me how the vibes were different and, you know, there's a different attitude. And every year it's always a different attitude. The vibes are always immaculate out in spring training. I just feel like ever since 2015 and then the arrival of Patrick Mahomes, I just feel like we as a sports city, we're done with words. It's about actions. I want to see it, right? Now, that's not to say that they're not saying the right things. They are. It's, you know, you'll sense some bitterness with how 2025 went from some guys. But, you know, so much of this upcoming season hinges on some rather young, talented ball players in Noah Cameron and Jack Caglione and Carter Jensen, guys that, you know, can say all the right things. Think they could put up big numbers out here in spring training, but you've been around long enough. You've seen enough guys have just monster springs, monster Cactus League numbers, and then they lay an egg in April. So I really feel like Royals fans are now at the place of, we love our boys. We want to see the videos. We want to hear the interviews. But we expect wins on game day. You know, we expect 85-plus victories this season, and the expectations are high. So, give us all the sights and sounds from spring training, but the boys better beat Chris Sale on opening day.
Well, the first game is the 20th against the Rangers as far as spring training is concerned. WBC coming up for a lot of these players as well. What's something you've noticed? I'm not talking about, you know, guys in great shape and all this and from the offseason. Just maybe something different from player. I know you got a chance to sit down and talk to Bobby Witt Jr. today and other players. Is there something you've noticed maybe from a player or two, and you're like, all right, the light bulb is switching on for this guy this year. I can just feel it.
Well, you can see Bobby finding his voice more and more. He's no longer and I'm going to have an extended conversation with him. And, man, I'm getting a lot of good stuff out here. I just sat down with Jack Caglione for maybe the best conversation I've ever heard him take part in. And, yeah, I think people are really going to like what they hear from Cags coming up on Thursday night's Hot Stove Show. But the first thing that comes to my mind when you ask that, it's Bobby Witt Jr., being who we all knew he was going to be. The MVP on the field, that's been evident for 2.5 years now. But I'm talking inside the clubhouse, during infield practice. Not that he's getting on guys or yelling or ranting and raving, but he's just using his voice a lot more. He can be obviously seen, but he can be heard, right there with Salvador Perez. Now, Salvy's still the captain. Salvy's, rah-rah, cheering on guys, holding guys accountable. When, they're running some infield drills earlier today and, a couple pitchers fumble the ground ball, make lackluster throws to first base. Salvy's not yelling, but he pounds that glove and tells the guys, hey, pick it up. Just not allowing anything to slide. And I'm seeing Bobby start to follow that lead. Bobby's becoming, what an MVP should be. And that is a leader, not only in the box score, but a leader on the diamond as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that it factor. I always talk about with the Chiefs, when you walk in to a locker room and you see certain players, all right, that's the real deal. It's like when Reed got here, he had that street cred, right? They knew he won in Philadelphia, know he's a good coach, and knew he's been to the Super Bowl. But that's what the players always said. When he stepped in that building, there was that first look, first glance respect that he carried. So it's nice to see that some of these players not named Bobby or Sal have that.
Yeah, and I mentioned just sitting down with Cags, and he tells me a story. Cags had a rough day yesterday, a rough day at the plate out here. And again, it's batting practice. You're supposed to fail. You're supposed to be working on stuff. But, Cags was unhappy with his performance yesterday at practice and, was beating himself up like so many super talented athletes do. He shows up today. He like Bob, like Salvy, one of the first to arrive, and he's in the cage early. And both Bobby Witt Jr. and Vinny Pasquantino join him in the cage, not to join him hitting, but to serve as quasi-hitting coaches for him. They're offering ideas to Jack, trying to encourage, trying to help. So one of my big concerns last year with this team is where's the veteran leadership? I know you have Salvy, but, when camp broke last year, I really thought this team was going to miss Will Smith, the voice of Adam Frazier, those guys that can tell the youngsters, hey, calm down. It's a long year. Yeah, you got off to a rough start in April. We got 5.5 months to rectify things, to right the ship. And then, lo and behold, Adam Frazier, Mike Yastrzemski show up after the trade deadline, and the team really takes off because they have those veteran voices that can kind of put everything into perspective. I told you about Bobby earlier. Bobby and Vinny seem to be taking that next step to where hopefully being the key word, we'll see, hopefully those outside veteran voices aren't needed because the void left by Frazier, by Will Smith, and Chris Stratton, that void is being filled by Pasquantino and the great Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah, what Bobby can do and how good a great player he is across baseball. Well, Vinny, he just seems that way. He seemed that way at the beginning of the year because I remember just him talking. He wasn't good with failure. He wasn't good with the team losing when they should have been winning. But he said some things early on in the season last year, like back in April, and you're like, okay, I think he gets it, man, because losses were different for him with that team than compared to other years. But I really noticed it with Vinny more than anybody, to be honest with you, with that light bulb coming on, kind of like that leadership quality that he has. But that's good that he feels that way. We saw Moose get to be this type of guy with the Kansas City Royals as well. It didn't really have a big voice at the beginning, but then when his back came around and he started producing on the field, Vinny did produce on the field. Vinny was very good at the plate last year. more of an imposing type guy. He can be fun-loving, yes, but he's serious as well. But Vinny seems to me to be that guy that really took that leadership kind of step with the team last year.
Yeah, and he's about to be the captain for Team Italy. So you have a captain for Team Italy. You have the captain of Team Venezuela and Bobby Witt Jr. Okay, Aaron Judge might be the first, the true captain of Team USA. But I don't think anybody would be surprised when the WBC is all said and done if Bobby Witt Jr. is the guy holding that MVP trophy. To your point about Vinny, he is the total package. Behind the microphone, talking to the media, in the clubhouse, keeping guys loose, but also keeping them focused and holding them accountable. And then, of course, at the dish, I call him the undeniable Vinny Pasquantino because whether it's a microphone or a bat in his hands, he's undeniable. You got to give the guy his credit. He is, in my opinion, the best first baseman in this division. I think he's the best left-handed bat in this division. I think he's primed for his first All-Star game this season, so long as he can get off to a solid start, which has eluded him throughout his big league career. But I'm certainly not going to bet against the Pasquatch. Yeah, him, Bobby, Michael, you're going to be hard-pressed outside of, Los Angeles to find a more well-rounded top three in your lineup.
It's hard to really take anything from what players say after games and everything, because a lot of times it's kind of the same thing. But there's something about Vinny that really stood out. It's like Vinny really stood out with this team last year. All right, so in the rotation,
he's a fan. I think it's because he's a fan. Like he remembers, and he's a Jets fan. He's a baseball fan. He listens to sport. He listened to sports radio, so he knows what fans want to hear. He knows what fans don't often get to hear. And, he's going to say what's on his mind. He's never going to run from it. And if he goes 0 for 10 after saying something bold, he's going to be there at his locker the next day to answer the questions. Again, he's the total package.
And he's accountable. Let me ask you this, Vern. I'll leave you with this. So last year, Chris Bubich had that breakout year in the beginning before he was hurt. But he had that breakout year, and he became something you didn't realize 100% what you had in Chris Bubich, and he showed you what he's capable of doing. When you look at this team this year, we know what Bobby can do. We know we talked about Vinny, and Vinny had a great year too. Is there another Chris Bubich on this team that you can see? There's something you have, but you don't quite know that you have something that good like Bubich last year.
Yeah. I mean, Carter Jensen's the name that comes to my mind. I'd say Carter Jensen, top 3 American League Rookie of the Year. What he's able to do behind the dish, I think he's going to find his name in the lineup every single day. They're not going to put a ton of pressure on him from the outset, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him climb that lineup, hit as high as 5th. Maybe he's a guy that hits, it's going to be hard to supplant Michael, Bobby, Vinny as that 1, 2, 3. But as far as a breakout guy, I'll go with the Park Hill kid. I'll take Carter Jensen.
Good stuff, Vern. Always enjoy your updates. Of course, the Hot Stove Show on at 6 o'clock on Thursday night, each and every Thursday. Vern had the show before he went to Arizona. He's got the show in Arizona. You want to hear about the Kansas City Royals, you talk to the one, the only Josh Vernier. Thanks, Vern.
My man, I appreciate it, buddy.
Take care, Josh Vernier right there. Yeah, I'm kind of curious who's going to be that Chris Bubich. Somebody that guy went to the All-Star game, right?
Yeah, I mean,
nobody knew what they had in Chris Bubich. You thought you had something in Bubich, but you hadn't really lived up to who you thought you had. Then he goes out and shows you something. This team's crawling with those guys. But I was always curious, who's going to be the Chris Bubich? Somebody that's like, whoa, we have this?
If you ask me, I think it could be Ryan Berger, the guy they got in the Freddie Fermin trade at the deadline last year. Loved what he did whenever he came over here in the second half of the season. And I just think, if we have another injury in the pitching staff and he comes in and he's part of the rotation, really, really high expectations for Berger out of me.
But I was just curious because Vinny really should. Vinny said something back in April or something. I was like, oh man, this guy, he's tired of losing, man.
He gets it.
They went to the playoffs the year before. Vinny gets it. Vinny gets it.
He understands
100%.
how we all feel.
So there was a trade proposal out there from Bill Barnwell where it involved the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm curious what everybody thinks of this. Would you be willing to make this trade if you're the Kansas City Chiefs? We'll do that next.
You're listening to Jay Binkley and Jackson Ogden on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
What's up? It's Draymond Green. I'm back for my 14th NBA season, and my podcast, The Draymond Green Show, is back too. This season, I'm breaking down games, reacting to the biggest NBA stories, and sitting down with teammates, rivals, and culture shapers. And trust me, I'm not holding back, on the court or on the mic. 2 new episodes every week. New segments, big conversations, real basketball talk for the real hoop heads. Listen to and follow The Draymond Green Show wherever you get your podcasts. We're back. We're better. Let's get it.
Advent Health welcomes the KC Golf Show February 27th through March 1st at the Overland Park Convention Center. Test drive golf's big brands, shop 100 exhibits, and swing and putt for prizes. Front door rounds of golf and tickets at kansascitygolfshow.com.
Hey, it's Dusty Likens. No secret here. I am a golf guy, and I have to ask you if you're ready to ramp up the excitement because golf fans, BetMGM is making your next golf tournament winner bet even better with Second Chance. What's Second Chance? Well, you ever bet on your favorite golfer to win a tournament only to see them miss the green? Well, with this bet, MGM's Second Chance promotion will get you your stake back in cash if your tournament winner bet finishes in second instead. That's right. Simply bet on any player to win a scheduled golf tournament during a promotional week. If you're right, you win. But if your pick finishes in second instead of first, you get your stake back in cash. Watch your favorite players go for the win all season long and bet knowing you'll get your stake back if they finish second. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 and older only. Missouri only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Please play responsibly.
Hey guys, it's Rob Brennan from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the upcoming World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And I'm Scott Parks from Dana Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch, KC features the biggest names who helped make the World Cup in Kansas City possible. And there was a lot of work, plus the major storylines heading into this summer's tournament.
This is so much more. This isn't just a podcast about soccer.
No, you're right, Rob. It's a podcast about Kansas City, for Kansas City, telling the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes drop every Wednesday starting on March 4th, along with video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ social channels.
So make sure you subscribe. Download Beyond the Pitch KC with Rob Brennan and myself, Scott Parks, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I opened a restaurant and needed everything. Menus, signage, catering brochures.
Everything and then some.
I went to Staples. They printed it all and even suggested takeout menus.
One money pit with a side of fries.
But now at Staples, you get up to $125 off custom print orders.
$125 off. Now you're cooking. Brand your business in a big way at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or in the app by 4/4 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Hey guys, it's Rob Brennan from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan. We're excited to launch Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the World Cup with our friends at 98.1 KMBZ.
And I'm Scott Parks from Dana Parks. This is about Kansas City, not about soccer. Telling the story of how our town ended up hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes drop every Wednesday starting on March 4th, plus video clips on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ social channels.
Subscribe to Beyond the Pitch KC on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back, Jay Binkley, Jackson Ogden. So Bill Barnwell put out some trade proposals today. I like Bill Barnwell. I think he does a good job over at ESPN. He has a bunch of different trade proposals, and obviously, you know, Max Crosby, part of that. Good landing spots. Who knows? Maybe he stays. I mean, he seems like he's. Max is hard to read, man. He likes Kubiak or he doesn't because he is tired of the constant changes. So obviously that's going to be a big time piece that could or could not be traded. We don't know at that point. But the Kansas City Chiefs, as far as their situation, which direction would they go as far as the trade? And can you guess who that would be mentioned?
Mr. Trent McDuffie.
You're right. Trent McDuffie would be mentioned with the Rams. It's been
linked.
It's been the hot link for the Rams. Obviously, they need cornerback help. And the Rams, this is his trade proposal.
All right.
The Rams get Trent McDuffie and a 2026 fifth-round pick. Chiefs have 2 in the 5th round.
Okay.
That's only the Chiefs are sitting there limited picks anyway, 6. So it's
Right.
tough to yield that, not pick one up. But you would be getting one in return because you're getting their 2026 first-round pick. And again, I think next year is the one you need to be building up on in 2027 because that draft's probably going to be the better draft that we've seen in decades. But right now, the Rams, as we sit right now, they'd be drafting 29th. So you'd get essentially
an early second
almost
rounder.
a second-round pick.
Early second-round pick.
Guys that don't have first-round grades, you'd be getting it from the Rams. Would you make that deal or not? And you wouldn't have to pay him with an extension in the future either. That wouldn't be part of the situation. So you'd be out, or you wouldn't have to pay that kind of money.
Me personally, no. I don't think that's enough for Trent McDuffie. Considering that the Jets just got 2 firsts for Sauce Gardner, and I think Trent McDuffie is just as good, if not better, than Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner had a fantastic rookie season. Since then, he hasn't been that special.
No, they don't throw to him, and they'll use that as because he's so good. But again,
he holds. He commits tons of penalties.
I didn't like that move for the Colts because it
No.
said to me when they made it that they believe in Daniel Jones, that they're going to have to back up the truck for Daniel Jones, and that's not worth big-time money for the Colts.
idea.
And Sauce didn't really do anything. He got hurt right away. So
No, if I'm the Chiefs, I'm not doing that deal. I would need more for McDuffie. I would shop around. I would want to first.
you'd let Jalen Watson walk in this situation and be Noel.
In this situation,
and
I would keep McDuffie. I just think he's one of the best corners in football.
They
and,
love him.
I mean, he is one of the better corners. He does struggle a little bit with bigger receivers like an A.J. Brown. We've seen him go head-to-head with him a couple times in Super Bowls and hasn't gone McDuffie's way. But overall, he's a heck of a corner. It's hard to find ones like him. And, yeah, to me personally, I would not pull the trigger on that. The asking price would have to be higher. I would need more.
Yeah, I'm the same way with you. I'd want to see him back with the Chiefs. I wouldn't want to see, especially for this year's draft at the end of the first round, because that does come into the equation. Like, what kind of player are you going to be back? Are you going to get a stretch? Is it going to be a Felix Anudike-Uzomah type player? At 29, what type of player are you getting for Trent McDuffie? Because you always got to think, I mean, that's a premium position in the NFL, especially in this division. And I don't know what Bo Nix is going to be in, but you got to face Herbert twice a year. And it looks like you're going to be facing Mendoza twice a year now with the Raiders. So, and we look at the great quarterbacks in the AFC, being able to shut them down is imperative.
100%. I think it would be a mistake unless they had some elaborate plan to replace McDuffie in the secondary, which I just don't know how you do that. You just got rid of Snead a couple years ago. Jalen Watson and Joshua Williams are both impending free agents. To me, keeping McDuffie would be the right move. And then next year, if you don't want to pay him, give him the franchise tag and then trade him.
This is what Bill Barnwell said about the deal. He said, I'd rather see the Chiefs give an extension to one of their best players. But until Veach pays a cornerback top-tier money, I'm not counting on that to occur.
It's fair.
The Chiefs have spent just $112.2 million in cash at cornerback since the start of 2018. The third lowest total for any team in that span.
Wow.
So the Chiefs' third lowest in spending on that because they've had great success. Grabbing a Snead in the 4th, Jalen Watson in the 7th, Najee Johnson in the 7th. They've had a lot of luck at defensive backs.
That.
Yeah, they traded Parker Anger for
Charvarius Ward, and then they let him walk and get paid. So Veach to Barnwell's,
the salary cap did go up to 303.
It did.
From 279 to 303, which remember last year when it jumped up, the Chiefs are expecting 270. It goes to 279, and boom, Trey Smith gets that extension right away, and Karlaftis got his money.
It's true. I think getting a deal done with McDuffie is the right move for the Chiefs, unless you got a 2 firsts type of offer like the Colts got gave up for
Sauce?
Sauce Gardner. If someone offered me 2 firsts, then I'm like, okay, I'm taking it.
Which somebody was willing to do it because the Colts were willing to do it.
Yeah. So if somebody wants to give me 2 firsts for McDuffie, I'm all in. But
how desperate are you?
1 first? No, thank you. I need more.
Especially I think it kind of waters it down with this draft too.
Yeah, and
you are
100%.
giving him a good first round pick, but it's at the end of the first round in a draft that's kind of weak at the end of the first round, and that matters because are you really giving up a first round pick?
I don't want to give up a late first. I mean, I don't want to receive a late first for McDuffie. Like, I want to receive pick 20, pick 15. It doesn't have to be top 10, but pick 29, it feels like you're getting a second for McDuffie at that point. And this is, like you said, this is not a great draft.
And future considerations, you know the Rams are going to be good next year with Stafford.
Yeah.
They're still going to be. It's still going to be a bottom of the first round pick.
But at least next year's draft is deeper, and it looks, at this point in time, it looks better than the 2026 class. So I'm a personal no on that. I'm keeping him.
Yeah. Corner's tough to find, especially in the AFC when it's loaded with quarterback positions. Now, as far as quarterbacks for the Kansas City Chiefs, Derek Carr was out there talking about how that he wanted to be on with a competitive team, a winner. But really, you look at these teams and who's he really want to – like, what competitive team just needs that quarterback to go forward? It's few and far between the ideal situation that he wants. If he comes back from sitting out for a year, right? Saints still have his rights. So you have to deal with that. But when you look at these teams, I think of Indy, but they might be settling on Daniel Jones. That might be the situation they're Derek Carr, to me, has got to go somewhere and be a backup, prove himself, then go on and get money if he wants to come back and play football. Because usually when guys say they want to come back, it's more than just a one-year thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Chiefs would be a team, I would think. You would come, Andy Reid. You'd be behind Patrick Mahomes. Not a lot of expectations. Of course, you aren't going to make the money that you would with other teams, but it might be a situation that's better for you because if you do perform, let's say Mahomes has to miss the first 3 or 4 games, you get a chance to start in that situation. Maybe he didn't miss any time. We don't know 100% what it's going to be. But to me, being with Andy Reid and being with Mahomes, and they might be on Minshew, but I will say this. For him to make the leap, this is the year to do it because everybody wants that Sam Darnold. Everybody's hooked on what Sam Darnold did. Ooh, we can go out and get somebody. Yeah. That's why I think of Mac Jones sitting in San Francisco. Now, they're going to have to trade for him because he's still under contract for San Francisco. But in my opinion, somebody will trade for Mac Jones because they believe he'll be the next Sam Darnold because the quarterback draft class is so bad. And free agent drafts, the free agent class of quarterbacks not great either when you're thinking Malik Willis, one of the top quarterbacks.
I was going to bring him up. Somebody's going to pay Malik Willis. I mean,
they are.
Off a very limited sample size that he was good in, but somebody is going to pay him just because, you're right, it is scarce. The free agent quarterback market this year is 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, who's retiring, and then, of course, you have like a guy like Malik Willis, who's been a career backup to this point.
I mean, Pittsburgh might be a good spot for him. But again, you're talking about a guy that doesn't win when it's less than 40 degrees. Yeah. So you almost have to limit yourself kind of to dome teams at that point.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't win when it's cold.
No.
At all. That's his biggest knock. Yeah. I think he's 0-5 when it's less than 38. And guess what? I know there's a lot of domes, man. I know there's a lot of domes, and there's good West Coast teams at that point. But you better learn how to win in cold because you will at some point face a cold game.
Yeah. There's no avoiding
But they
it.
might be set with Gardner Minshew. And again, that's fine. But Andy Reid likes these type of quarterbacks, the veteran quarterbacks that you can throw there in a pinch and they do the deal. Just like Chad Henne when he had to lead that 98-yard drive against the Jags when he had to come in that playoff game, and he did exactly why he was on the roster.
Year before against Cleveland, got the first down, scrambling on third and
you're not asking him to go out and throw for 350 and 3 touchdowns. You're asking him, can you go in the game without getting nervous and finish the drive?
Yeah, they definitely don't want a young guy to, if Mahomes does miss time next year, they don't want a young guy to be the one coming in to take the snaps. They want it to be a career vet that's been around, knows offenses, isn't going to get flustered by a pick or something like that.
But believe it or not, it is a position to pay attention to just because you don't 100% know about your starting quarterback when he's coming back.
You have to.
Which I think makes the decision for Kelsey, too. Like, if Kelsey's hell-bent and he comes back because it looks like he is, do you think Kelsey would come back if Mahomes is going to miss 4 games? Yeah. I don't
know if 4 would be enough for Kelsey not to come back.
If, he's maybe just missed 1, nothing makes the decision easy. He comes back.
I think Kelsey's coming back.
If Mahomes missed a month, I don't know.
I personally am holding on to, maybe I'm just too big of an optimist, but I'm holding on to hope that Mahomes can play week 1.
I'm not going to bet against him playing on week 1. I'm serious.
holding out hope
of all
that
the
he
guys in
can.
the world, that guy I can see playing on week 1, honestly.
If there's anybody that's going to
He
go...
had surgery the next day.
12 hours later, yeah. If there's anybody that's going to go to hell and back to make sure that he gets on the field week 1...
He's probably
it is
doing
Patrick
rehab
Mahomes.
like the next day after that.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of one. His motor, unbelievable work ethic. I like you, I wouldn't bet against him. I would not bet against him being out there week 1 with the Chiefs.
Interesting stuff. Well, something regarding Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs we'll discuss next.
You're listening to Jay Binkley and Jackson Ogden on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and you guys know Centric Training is where your IT career starts, and the year has started. Have you?
Maybe you are an occupational support specialist, an operations trainer. Maybe just working in sales or outside and you're tired of it. You could have a new career in as little as 4 months to start this new year.
IT jobs are in demand, and Centric's enrolling right now. You can get hands-on training, industry certifications, career placement support over at Centric, and the sooner you start, the sooner you move forward. Visit Centric.com or call today. Centric Training, your IT career starts here.
When the cold sets in across KC, AB May is the trusted name for keeping your home warm, safe, and secure. From furnace repairs to system replacements, we deliver reliable solutions and unmatched care and professionalism. Whether it's a sudden breakdown or routine maintenance, AB May is here to help. Trusted by generations of Kansas City homeowners, we're committed to doing things the right way every time. Call AB May at 913-732-9993 or visit us at abmay.com.
Call your serviceman from AB May.
In Kansas, truth is told in speed. Wide open, full bore, and no mercy. Season momentum earned 3 and 4 wide. Loud, intense, inches predicting outcomes. Blink and miss.
They bang sideways.
What just happened? Pure speed whipping across the plains.
Hell yeah, boys!
NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, April 18th and 19th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
Start your summer at the Lake of the Ozarks Marine Dealers Overland Park Boat Show, February 19th through the 22nd at the Overland Park Convention Center. The top marine dealers from the Lake of the Ozarks will be on site with the newest boats, personal watercraft, docks, and accessories. Step aboard, compare models, and find the perfect ride for your family. Special show pricing and experts ready to help make your boating dreams a reality. Start your summer at the Overland Park Boat Show. Visit lakeoftheozarkboatdealers.com for more information.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. Do you feel stupid for buying a timeshare? Don't. It's not your fault. You were most likely told you could rent it, and it was a great financial investment. And the deal was available today only. If this happened to you, contact your resort or Wesley Financial Group for help today.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-939-1441. 800-939-1441.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
America, look around. Everywhere you go, prices are still high, rates have been whipsawing markets, and the debt and spending don't exactly scream stability. Experts say diversifying with intention is the #1 secret account that all American smart money uses to hedge against instability. Monetary Gold has been around since 2000, witnessing multiple economic setbacks. If you call now, Monetary Gold will cover up to a lifetime of your IRA fees on qualified accounts. Call Monetary Gold now at 877-NOW-GOLD. That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome back, Jay Binkley Jackson Ogden. Well, Jerome Tang didn't waste any time getting in the former Kansas State head coach. He's already got representation. From Pete Thamel, update, Jerome Tang has retained Tom Mars and Bennett Spire in the case of firing for cause. Mars told ESPN if K-State's president and AD really think the school is embarrassed by recent events, that's nothing compared to the embarrassment that both are about to experience.
Bink.
Here's the deal, though. Tom Mars,
we got drama.
It's not just any lawyer. He's a good one. He has represented athletes and coaches, the Neal Collective and everything. Notable clients include Justin Fields, former Ole Miss coach Houston Nutt, Jim Harbaugh, and a guy by the name of Trinidad Chambliss for his 2026 eligibility appeal that he just won. And got Trinidad to come back.
Very recent. Mars has been a busy man. That just got done.
Yeah,
Moving on to the Jerome Tang news now.
He was hired by Arkansas Edge, their Neal Collective as well, Tennessee's Neal Collective, and he's represented Walmart as well. He's known for taking on the NCAA regarding transfer rules and has a reputation for securing favorable outcomes for athletes seeking immediate eligibility. Well, now he's going to be part of a team that's representing
it's going to be a little different.
Jerome Tang.
And not quite the same thing as fighting for an extra year of eligibility. This is going to be fighting for $18 million.
Well, he didn't just go grab a guy either. He's got a good one. So.
Yeah. I mean, look, they wanted to fire him for cause. K-State wanted to fire him anyway. They just made that up. I think at the end of the day, Tang's probably going to win this.
He's owed $18.67 million per his contract. So I guarantee you, Mars and Bennett Spire saw that and said, "Oh, wow,
that's
what
a nice
what can we get out of that deal?
Yeah,
we can get it for you.
We'll hop in. We'll take a percent.
Yeah, it's probably not the group of attorneys you wanted to see if you're Kansas State.
Look, I think Jerome Tang is probably going to win this case, even before Mars got put on the case. I don't think there was cause to fire Jerome Tang. Now,
that's the first name I thought it was Trinidad because I don't know much about him. But I was like, didn't Trinidad get him?
It just happened. I don't think Tang did anything to really warrant getting fired for cause other than the team not playing well, in which you still have to pay him out. Yeah, he went out and said he was angry with the performance, but I mean, what coach hasn't said that at one point in time? Every coach goes out there and says they're disappointed in their team after a bad loss like that. That's the epitome of a post-game press conference when you lose by 30 at home. So, yeah, I think Tang's probably going to get the better end of this, and if you're K-State, you might want to get ready for the buyout because I think you're going to have to pay it.
His from Yahoo, Mars is an Arkansas-based attorney who's an accomplished trial lawyer who's built his reputation for taking on the NCAA. And, of course, Trinidad Chambliss that was denied. And then all of a sudden he hires Tom Mars, and he's eligible now.
Yeah, come back for your 6th year.
Ole Miss put him in contact with Mars. So Ole Miss probably knew that was going to be done.
I see. Yeah, I mean, this situation got really messy. You think about it a week ago, the Jerome Tang thing, yeah, they weren't playing well, but nothing like this was ever a thing. We hadn't even had the Cincinnati game yet. Then they lose by 30 at home to a terrible Cincinnati team. They get blown out on the road at Houston. They pull the plug on the Jerome Tang experience, and then they tell us, oh, it's not just pulling the plug on him. We're firing him for cause. This thing has gotten spiraled out of control.
And as far as coaches he's represented, Tom Crean when he was at Indiana and Jim Harbaugh at Michigan.
Yeah. I'd say he's pretty good if that's the guys he's been representing.
Yeah.
He got Jim Harbaugh off pretty easy.
I wonder if they'll use the student athlete.
Yeah.
He was a student athlete.
Going back to the first hour of the show, student athlete.
Oh man. Here's the one thing too with me going back to the Chiefs and the draft.
Okay.
I just look at one thing and one thing only.
Let me hear it.
How do you help Mahomes? Honestly, when you look at who's the best player, it's Patrick Mahomes, right? When you think of the Kansas City Chiefs, who's the guy? I mean, keep this in mind. We're talking about a team that had one playoff win in 25 years before Mahomes got here. And it was that win Alex Smith had down in Houston. They had gone 22 years without a playoff win. that spanned from 94 till it win in 2016. 22 years without a win.
Yep.
Mahomes comes in as a starter in 2018. You have 17 playoff wins.
It's crazy.
17. He's number 2 all time, only behind Tom Brady.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
For a team that did not win a playoff game, and he's got 17 of them. You know, does that defensive end really help Patrick Mahomes? Like when he's retired for 5 years, say, well, we tried a defensive end again. We went and got another edge. Or is it him having a game changer, a game breaker when he's over 30 years old now, you know, to help the Chiefs win another title? Like, that's the thing. Like, with average quarterbacks, he built up that defense. Like a Sam Darnold. I don't know how good Sam Darnold's, you know, going to be in the future in the history of the NFL. We'll see. But for the most part, he's always been considered, you know, good to average to better quarterback. He had a good year. He's put 2 good years together back to back. Not in the postseason, that was this year. But Minnesota had a good year, except for the postseason. Things changed. But average quarterbacks, you build up that defense.
Have to.
You build up defense and see where you can get to because that's going to be your conduit to winning a title. But then there's elite quarterbacks, and you give them what they need to win. And that's why constantly drafting defense, especially at number 9, when you had a top 10 defense last year, by the way, the Chiefs were the only team in the top 10 in scoring defense. They were 6th in scoring defense, meaning 6 fewest points were against the Kansas City Chiefs. The offense didn't sniff the top 10. They were 20th in the NFL. And I get it. He was hurt for a while, but the defense was statistically better than the offense in almost every category last year.
No, and it makes sense. I mean, the offense was super one-dimensional last year. And also you dealt with the Rasheed Rice suspension. That was 6 games. The Worthy injury, which I don't think Worthy was ever 100% after that.
I don't either.
I mean, 3 plays into the season, Kelsey just decks him, knocks him out, shoulders gone. Could have been a season ender. Xavier decides to play through it, but I don't ever think he was right. So, yeah, I mean, I'm 100% with you. You got to help Mahomes out because right now his best weapon is a 36, going to be turning 37-year-old Travis Kelsey.
Which literally has been because it's either been him or Tyreek Hill who led this team in receptions and yards. And Kelsey last 2 years.
That's if Kelsey decides to come back. He might not even be back.
Yeah.
And if he's not back, then who is it? Worthy?
And you have a guy, Rice, on the last year of his contract, and really the only contract going forward is Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of stability there. Of course, we've talked ad nauseum about the running backs already today.
So you can have a good defense. You can get to the quarterback. Just remember this, too. Out of the top 10 teams this year in the NFL with sacks, only 5 of them made the postseason. 5. 50%. 50% did not make the playoffs. Didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Both the Patriots and the Seahawks weren't even in the top 5 in sacks this year. Seahawks were 8th. Chiefs were tied with the Patriots with 35 sacks, 22nd in the NFL. It's not the end-all mystery just because you have a guy that can get to the quarterback because 50% of teams found out in the top 10 that wasn't exactly the answer. Oh, you need to have a quarterback.
Of course, but it does help when you can get to the quarterback, and that's their quarterback, make their quarterback uncomfortable. I mean, we saw
they've done it both ways, you know.
Yeah, with Frank Clark. I mean, when he was here, that was huge for us. He was able to get some pass rush. Going back to the first year of Mahomes, Justin Houston, and before Mahomes, Tom Bahali and those guys. But you're right, we had those elite pass rushers, Bink, but we didn't have the quarterback, and so we never went anywhere. Now we have the quarterback. You don't necessarily have to spend premium draft capital on edge because you have Patrick Mahomes. Get him some weapons, get him some more tools to play with.
Not saying they don't need it, yeah.
They definitely need it, but do you use it at 9 is going to be a heavily debated topic all offseason.
And also, you kind of got a bonus in the fact that Omar Norman-Lott, you really didn't see much of last year. He was your second-round pick last year.
I like him, too.
If healthy, Omar Norman-Lott's a hell of a player.
I really like him, too.
And so you haven't really seen what he can do. And hopefully he gets the health back and going. He's ready to go for the Kansas City Chiefs because he's a hell of a player.
For sure.
And I understand why they drafted him second. So we'll see which direction you go. Again, if you want to do the whole pressure versus actual sacks stat, elite quarterbacks are pressured. They're not sacked. They escape pressure and deliver a ball 15 yards down the field. That's what happens. The Patriots could have had like 4 more sacks, but Sam Darnold got out of, quote, pressure in that Super Bowl. And again, yeah, you can look at great defenses. Is this the trend for the National Football League? Because the Seahawks won a Super Bowl and they have a great defense. Well, and I know their offense wasn't that good in the Super Bowl, but they were 3rd in the NFL in points per game. Actually, the Patriots and the Seahawks were number 2 and 3 offensive teams in the NFL. Patriots are 28.8 points a game. Seahawks are 28.4. But again, if we're going to use that as the test The Seahawks won a Super Bowl because their defense. We got to talk about the NFC title game. How did they get to the Super Bowl? Well, they gave up almost 500 yards against the Rams, the NFC title game, 374 for Stafford and 3 touchdowns. And it was JSN that had their receiver that had 10 for 153 and a touchdown. Yeah, when you got to Super Bowl, it didn't matter because the Patriots' offensive line was so bad. But you did need offense because you did have the NFL's leading receiver on your football team with the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
That mattered.
Yeah, JSN was a huge part of that offense, and the Chiefs obviously have nobody near.
And a 1,000-yard runner.
Yeah, and Kenneth Walker, who was great. Also, Charbonnet in that backfield before he tore his ACL was great. For me, it's just, can we get good on both sides of the line? I think they've done a lot to get good on the O-line. I really like Josh Simmons when he's back. Kingsley at guard played well. Creed's the best center in football. Trey Smith's great. And then I think it'll be Jalen Moore at right tackle.
Sure.
I think you cut Jawan.
And I get it. Text line pointing out defensive stats on third down were bad. Yes, they were absolutely horrible.
Atrocious.
But I'll tell you this. Do you know where the Chiefs finished on fourth down defense?
First.
By
a long shot.
By a long shot. They were putting Mahomes back on the field.
Wasn't even close.
Even more. So they weren't close with teams going forward. They actually got better at that than the other thing was on fourth down because teams used to just go for it on the Chiefs' fourth down all the time. But this year they were stonewalled a little bit from getting that first down and third down.
To the text line's point, there were a lot of 3rd and 10s, especially the Dallas game's the one you think of. So many 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 12s even, and we just couldn't get off the field. And I think a lot of that is because you don't have a good enough pass rush. So I understand why people are coming in with that take because it was frustrating as a fan last year to sit back and watch quarterbacks dice you up on 3rd and long.
Well, I definitely feel they need a pass. But listen, they've gotten to the Super Bowl with a bad pass rush, and they've gotten to the Super Bowl and won it with bad receivers. They've done it both ways. Now, I will say this. In that run of 3 Super Bowls in a row they had, they were number 2 in sacks in 2 of them.
It does help to get to the quarterback.
Yes, it does.
It does help.
But it also helps when your offense isn't 15 in points per game like they were for 2 straight years before they went to 21st this past year because they couldn't score touchdowns.
No doubt.
So, again, week 4, week 5, whatever, and they're dropping the football. They can't beat man. And you're sitting there going, well, our defense is top 10. We have 6 wins. No, well. Anyway, it's time to say goodbye to a certain few events in sports. We'll close with that.
You're listening to Jay Binkley and Jackson Ogden on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Presenting a Gain Flings love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Steve here with Connolly Plumbing Solutions. It's February romance once again. Buy one toilet, get one half off. Call Connolly at 913-768-7676 or visit ConnollyPlumbingSolutions.com to schedule.
Football season is over, but there's still plenty to bet at Circa Sports. From pro and college basketball, hockey, and everything in between, Circa Sports has it all. Circa Sports isn't just sports betting, it's sports betting the way it should be. High betting limits, player-friendly pricing, and exceptional customer service. Whether you're looking for futures on March hoops, props on your favorite players, and more, Circa Sports has you covered. Download the Circa Sports app or visit circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And Doug. There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means sitting front row at a comedy show.
Hey everyone, check out this guy and his bird. What is this, your first date?
Oh, no. We help people customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual together. We're married. Me to a human, him to a bird.
Yeah, the bird looks out of your league anyways.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Wouldn't you like to take a vacation from your bills? Well, you can. With credit card balances at an all-time high and Golden Oak's 4.5% rate, you could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call. Call today and get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments for 2 months. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
5.442 APR, FHA 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit, additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back-end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Welcome back. Here's the top 10 teams in sacks this year, right? Get to the quarterback. Number 1, Denver Broncos. Number 2, Atlanta Falcons. Number 3, Cleveland Browns, followed by the Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings, Pittsburgh Steelers, Rams, then the Seahawks. The Rams actually had more sacks than the Seahawks. Houston and New Orleans. That's your top 10. I mean, yeah, that top 5 pretty thin. You think of, most of these teams watch the Super Bowl on the couch like we did. So, yes, I'm not saying it's not important. It is. Top 2 picks, one of them better be edge. You just hope it's edge, but you definitely want Patrick Mahomes to have more weapons going forward.
I think it's best player available at either position there. I think if you prefer the edges that are left on the board, you go there. If you prefer one of the receivers that are left on the board, if it's a Mekhi Lemon or a Jordan Tyson, you go there. I don't think it has to be we're picking this no matter what.
So I said something to go bye-bye. Did you realize the Pro Bowl when it was on with their flag football game they had, right? Which they did the same thing last year.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know the ratings dropped 60% this year? 60%. Matter of fact, there was 3 times more people watching a preseason game with the Hall of Fame game. In last year, the NBA had 4.7 million. MLB had 7.2 million.
I mean, they played it on a Tuesday
watching
night.
Their All-Star games.
Why was it on a Tuesday?
Did you know the WNBA All-Star game actually outdrew the NFL All-Star game?
Doesn't surprise me.
Or Pro Bowl? Yeah, insane. Anyway, thanks to you, Jackson. Look forward to a lot of draft coverage with you coming on. Big thanks to Josh Vernier joining us from the desert. Enjoyed it. Thanks for listening, everybody. Take care.
You're listening to Jay Binkley and Jackson Ogden on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Presenting a Gain Flings love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me. But I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends